You turn toward me and look so weak. I've never seen you with such tired eyes. And everything we said we'd be, we just traded for a suit coat and a tie. From underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Follow me down, there's no one around. Lay back and take your socks and shoes right off. That natural light is so damn polite, can make you feel just like you were young again. Standing underneath the rows of trees, I can see where the ocean meets the sky. Under our clothes, a fire grows. We are ready for this life of running wild. We're running wild. Underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. Silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. Silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first qualifier for EURC, and we are about to find out our first qualified team. Of course, it is the Portsmouth Paladins coming out of the UK against a bit of an upset from the bracket, I think it's fair to say, FHDW D Esports. I mean, they've only just recently been promoted to the Uniliga in Germany. I mean, even looking at the entire bracket in general, it has been juicy. And of course, I am joined by Orion. What is your favourite juice, Orion?
Currently, Ribena, but I guess that's not a juice.
No, not really. It's more of a squash.
It is a squash.
Other squashes are available, of course. I think apple and mango is my favourite, like the absolute peak.
Yeah, no, that's true. Or a J2O. Oh, I could die for a J2O right now, but they don't sell them in Iceland.
So good. But speaking about the bracket, of course, FHDW, they upset 20 in a sweep. I mean, of course, we know that 20 from the Netherlands aren't with their full roster today, but that's still pretty crazy. Not to mention, they beat Essex Blades, nearly a playoff team here in the UK. 2-1 in the best of three. Definitely an upset there as well. So who knows? Could they upset who you would probably consider to be the top seed in the UK right now? Who knows? It might be a step too far. It may not be. Of course, Portsmouth Paladins, they've had a pretty calm bracket, but you could say they had a scare earlier against Newcastle. They were taken to game 3 in the best of 3. And of course, on the other side of the bracket, we saw York go on a great run, beating Durham, beating Warwick, but they did, of course, fall short against Erasmus, who did sort of put them to bed, I think it's fair to say. And they'd also in the Beckett Bears and the Staffordshire Bim Bam, which if we then go look at the lower bracket, it is a bloodbath, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit. We've got a couple of matches in progress, some finished in losers round 5 at the moment. So we had the UWE Sea Stags beating Warwick in a sweep, although that was only a best of 3, so 2-0 scoreline there. But Beckett Bears have swept 20 in a best of 3. I've been told that 20 aren't using their full roster, so that might explain it a little bit. But as you say, the Beckett Bears are on an absolute tear right now.
And Badgers as well.
Yeah.
But Badgers have sort of ceased to exist today. The Siebes also out early.
Yep, and the other 2 games, I believe that are still in progress. I don't think we have results for them just yet. Are Staffs against the Essex Blades, who are still making their run through the lower bracket. And we also have Durham Defenders against Newcastle, who just came off a 2-1 victory against KIT's second team.
That's interesting. That's a rematch of the Society Showdown qualifier, where Newcastle lost in a typical...
Yes, they did do that. They did a Newcastle.
Who goes out in terms of Staffs versus Essex, that's another very tense series as well, and that will be how the lower bracket shapes out. But we are right up in the upper bracket right now, and of course we found out that Erasmus Esports Rotterdam have been the first team to qualify in EURC. Of course, there's 12 qualifying spots. It's not too late for you to sign up and try and play and qualify. The Smash link, I'm sure, is available in chat. That's the first of 12 teams, and we will find out 4 today. And the second of which, like we say, will be either the Portsmouth Paladins or FHDW. And realistically, FHDW are just really this unknown factor coming in, but you can sort of compare them to York, really, I feel, given that York were never really a typical National League team in the UK here, and now that FHDW, have gotten promoted to the Uniliga in this winter split, both teams seem to be on a bit of a tear of form right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see how far those comparisons with York actually go, because if Portsmouth are coming in as one of the favourite teams in this bracket managed to sweep, then they will be almost exactly like York, with an unknown entity being swept in one of the upper bracket semi-finals. But yeah, Portsmouth have kind of stepped it up a gear from last season. I believe, I haven't actually seen Portsmouth myself this season yet, but I believe their roster has changed slightly. They used to have Esper, right?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, people thought that Mercy would come in to replace Canoy, but I think Esper isn't just like very hugely interesting in playing anymore. I'm not sure, he's either taking a break, not really sure on the exact details, but what we know for now is even in Society Showdown, Ryko was playing there as well, and you might think, oh, who's this Ryko guy? Used to be on the Portsmouth Pancake sort of thing, and it's just like, doesn't matter. They literally won Society Showdown with this roster, and that was their first tournament together ever. So if that's not a statement to just quite how far they could potentially go, then I don't know what is. But I do know that if I was FHDW, then you might feel a bit scared, but also you've kind of got nothing to lose.
Yeah, no, that's very true. FHDW have found themselves in a spot where, all to play for, nothing to lose really. The worst that happens is they drop to lowers and they fight again for a spot. So I don't know, potentially they might even be wanting to use this Portsmouth game as almost a warm-up game, just to play against a team that's really going to make them work hard for any sort of victory, and then just go into the lower brackets and absolutely destroy any other teams that are put in their path.
That is fair. I mean, you don't know how long they might have to wait if they drop to be lowest, to be fair. But it's like,
true.
I mean, you'd be desperate to get that qualification, because qualifying would be a huge upset, but a massive achievement for them as well. And you want to make EURC, you want to be up amongst the best universities in Europe, because that's the best practice you can possibly get at the highest stakes. And well, they've already beaten Essex in a best of 3. So whilst I don't actually officially hold out massive hope for them, I still feel like there's evidence to say that they can put up, and still give Portsmouth a real run for their money here.
Yeah, I by no means I don't think it's a foregone conclusion in this match. There is a chance. There's always a chance. There was a chance for York in that previous series we saw, and it seemed like they were close to taking it sometimes, but the end result just wasn't quite there. I don't know. I think we might kind of see a repeat of that other semi-final. I would err on the side of predicting a sweep in favour of Portsmouth, but I do not doubt that FHDW are going to fight for it.
Well, we will see how much they're willing to fight for it as we head into Game 1 here in Manfield Night, as Portsmouth will take the kickoff immediately into the FHDW half. Curious to see whether we'll see an early goal or both teams will be willing to, as a double commit from Portsmouth there, uncharacteristic, to sort of feel each other out to start with. Or maybe, FHDW will just go for the jugular straight away and try and catch them off guard, which I think they probably must have done with teams like Essex. And it was certainly easier to upset them in that best of 3 where they did win 2-1. But at the end of the day, they were still able to beat, and well, not just beat, but sweep, albeit not a full strength 20. But that's still a 3-0 scoreline. And Portsmouth will have never played this roster before. Of course, Verfahren, Midoti and Zim. I'm going to practice those words over in my head a few times. And so even on the Portsmouth side, you don't really know quite what to expect. And a demo coming out there immediately. And it's fair to say that FHDW are the ones asking the questions right now.
Yeah, that was definitely a question asked there as Zim went for a flip reset, and it was Psycho that had to just get in front of it and deny that as Psycho launches one onto net. This might go all the way here, but no, it is Verfahren. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Psycho fires one onto the corner.
It's crazy. I mean, you can tell that we are both natural German speakers. Realistically, our accent's absolutely perfect. Did you take German? Oh, hang on a minute.
I did not take German. I took French and Spanish.
I had French and Spanish. I literally took French and Spanish. I dropped French in like year 9, and then I took Spanish at GCSE. But hey, I did, double commit there, could prove costly. I did get an A in that said Spanish, so clearly I'm the definition of fluent, not like I've not spoken it in like 5 years or anything. Oh my goodness, FHDW there. That was a little bit close on defense, but honestly, about as comfortable as it could have been there. They worked that one pretty well, and Portsmouth still denied a breakthrough goal here.
Yeah, the play right now is pretty fast-paced, as we would expect, at this level. Both teams have clearly, are clearly top-level teams if they've made it thus far. Mercy might have an open net to shoot out here. It's going to be off the crossbar. That was a difficult angle for him. Psycho with a shot now. It's going to be off the other corner. I think he's hit both top corners so far.
He really has. He's just checking off all of the, just every single piece of woodwork around the FHDW net. And I mean, well, if it's already starting to go their way, then why wouldn't it stay that way? Is maybe Portsmouth get frustrated, maybe they get impatient. Could potentially leave themselves open for a counter-attack, as I think Riker is doing a very good job holding it down as a third man there, and that's a really good pinch from him. As it's really easy to sort of get overshadowed, I feel like, when you're on that roster. Speaking of him, literally just now, when you might be playing with Mercy and Psycho, it might feel hard to get in the limelight at all, but a nice infield pass, and look who's there to tuck it in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, great shot there from Riker. That ball, there was 2 players behind it and 1 player in front of it. I thought it was an infield pass at first, and I was like, wait a minute, that's one of the FHDW players. What's he doing there? It was just kind of a sandwich of FHDW players, and it was Ryko to finish it off at the far post.
I mean, Psycho was so determined to not hit the woodwork again there that he decided to fire it 6 feet wide, and fair enough, it was an absolute clang of a shot, although
technically it is still the woodwork.
It kind of is, yeah. I mean, it's, maybe the walls made a difference I mean, in Sunday League football, there's no big walls around the goals, so it's kind of hard to. Hang on a minute, Psycho is up for the redirect. Wait, hang on a minute, he was
blocked by his teammate.
He was racing Mercy to the ball there. As FHDW, I mean, they've been stuck on defense for a little while here. As you know, eventually they're going to need to just press out and start to take any risk that they can sort of get their hands to. As they are the ones who are chasing the goal right now, but they have looked better than personally. I was worried that they'd be down maybe 3 or 4 right now, but oh, hang on a minute, nearly a play put together. As whilst they didn't have enough boost to put that together, that there's certainly a sign and a spark. They could be doing much better.
Yeah, Mercy was trying to send that one into the midfield. He's still going to get it there, but Ryko had given up on it, and it is now Psycho with no boost sending it onto the backboard and making FHDW use their boost to get that one clear. It's Zim now. That's a fun word to say. Zim.
I like that.
Mercy ground pinch attempt. I think Mercy and Psycho are just kind of, getting caught up with each other a little bit as Ryko puts another one onto the woodwork. It seems that FHDW's 4th man has made the most saves so far this game.
Yeah, the 4th man. They've got a 5th man on the other side of the goal as well.
Yeah, right.
It's actually crazy.
There's a 6th one on the top.
And then making their defense look pretty solid, as Portsmouth do have a whole 11 shots, and this game is yet to be concluded. And with only 1 goal from that, that's not too bad from FHDW's side. I mean, they've gotten 5 shots themselves, but none feel like there's been a real clean chance, per se. As hopefully they dangerous in front of the goal, but it works as a back pass here. Maybe they can work this in transition as Midoti wins the 50 with Mercy, but Psycho and Ryko, again, the Portsmouth players, when it matters and, FHDW need to get a player to the ball, it seems like the Portsmouth players are only really racing themselves to it.
Yeah, and worryingly, we haven't really seen a convincing opportunity from FHDW all game, at least not one that I can recall, whereas, Portsmouth have hit the woodwork about 5 times. And that 1-0 scoreline just does not reflect how one-sided that game was, in my opinion.
No, it definitely easily could have been more than 1-0. I agree completely. Maybe you could say Portsmouth being the more experienced team will benefit from that, but equally, FHDW, you've got to give them respect there. In terms of scoreline, that is close, and we don't know whether they were still sort of acclimatizing to just the caliber of opponent that Portsmouth are. Probably they definitely are one of the complete upper echelon here in Europe. You would be expecting them to go all the way to at least the playoff stage of EURC here. So, I mean, FHDW, they've been in the 2nd division of the Uniliga, all of Winter Split. This is not the same caliber of opponents that they are used to playing against, of course. But I mean, when you consider that, you got to look at it and saying they're doing a really good job right now. And, if they could just get, a goal against the run of play and potentially get a 1-0 lead, who knows how that could work in their favour in regards to whether they could successfully park the bus or frustrate Portsmouth, or just maybe catch them off guard in general and find momentum based off that. I mean, equally, they could crumble in the 2nd game, but I could also see them properly toughen up. It's going to be hard which way it goes, I should say, as we head on to Forbidden Temple here in Game 2.
Yeah, they're definitely going toe-to-toe with Portsmouth, and despite being stuck in their own half for much of that previous game, they were able to defend reasonably well, and they were able to kind of meet Portsmouth and hold a decent line and get those important 50-50s and blocks.
And bring the man into play.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure the comms of the 4th man aren't too great, just silence and letting things rebound off him. But if it's working, then it's working.
Yeah, they're 2 quiet guys. They just sort of sit there in the Discord call, not really saying anything, and sometimes
post 1 and post 2.
Yeah, why not?
Just mute deafened.
Mute and deafened. That's toxic. Or the infield play. Mercy to Psycho. Oh, that's a deadly link-up play right there. As unfortunately, FHDW just caught standing and spectating there. Just had to admire how seamlessly they linked up. Midoti nearly getting the block there, but just not quite. And that's 4:20 on the clock. And this time, it's the 1-0 lead, but coming a lot earlier. So I do worry right now.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake on rotation there. I think, I can't remember who it was, but one of the players kind of pushed up and then went, nah, and then had to go and get boost. And just was not in the right place to deal with it. And I think it was Midoti who just pushed out of net a little bit, not expecting that ball to be, to have a shot put onto net. And so, yeah, just caught out there. But I think that's the first time we've actually seen them, properly caught out. So, whether that's as a result of Portsmouth doing things well or FHTW doing things poorly, we'll have to see.
Quite a nice play from Portsmouth, to be fair. We can give them credit for that, but it's just like FHTW. They can sit there and go, wow, that's a great play, Portsmouth. But at the end of the day, if they do not rise to the occasion, then they will not be qualifying to EURC. And it's going to be hard if they do drop to that lower bracket. They potentially might have to wait for a series or two. And again,
they definitely will.
Opponent. And if they're not up to that challenge either, then it's going to feel like, they've just passed up a potentially great chance to get involved at the top echelon of these European teams. Oh my goodness, is it going to be in? Mercy tucks it in at that same bottom left-hand corner. Following that shot, I think it was from Psycho. He takes that one, clangs it off the fourth.
Oh my God, what a doink,
man, of the FHDW defense, and unfortunately, unable to get back in time, unable to clear the ball. It will be a 2-goal lead here for Portsmouth in this game too.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes gone and 2 goals on the board for Portsmouth, and FHTW yet to get on the board in this series. They might get one here, as that is a banger of a shot from Zim, cursing them. Zim clearly listening into the stream and going, you know what, I'm going to prove this guy wrong and make him look very silly.
Such a good pass from Verfahren. I mean, that is just pinpoint accuracy, and we talk about them rising to the occasion. That is the sort of goal that when you execute it as well as that, you can score against any opponent, regardless of it being Portsmouth or not. And suddenly, FHTW, they're back within 1.
Yeah, that was a very well-engineered play there from FHTW. If they can do that more and are able to look for themselves or look for each other in the midfield, I should say, then they really can start to make Portsmouth a bit more worried on defense.
Indeed, Zim will clear that ball down towards Verfahren again, but he doesn't go for the link up in the midfield though this time. Psycho is able to cut it out quite cheaply. In fact, he will look for a pinch there, finds it. Mercy's up early. What can he create? Just was happy to just pinch it with the backboard, and Verfahren. Midoti will clear the ball down the line, and Zim will come across and will link it here into the Portsmouth end. Psycho has to stand his ground in the corner, but does so well, clearing it deep into the midfield. Met high by Verfahren, sending it straight back into that Portsmouth corner, not letting them letting them out their half too cheaply here is nice and a good sign for the German side, as the 50 will be high, and Raiko and Psycho do race each other to the ball again, but will it be costly? Yes, it will. Zim in the right place at the right time tucks that into an uncharacteristically open net, but a simple mistake and a simple punish, suddenly that 2-goal lead has vanished.
Yeah, Portsmouth just completely fell apart then. It wasn't quite a triple commit, but they all managed to find themselves in the same corner of the pitch, and the net was wide open. I didn't see who it was, but the third man just flew across the screen to get to that ball, and Raiko put it into the centre at exactly the same time, and so the open net there is going to be taken by FHDW. It's going to be Raiko now with no boost, and I think that was recognised very quickly. He was challenged and loses possession, but it is now Psycho back in possession, looking for Mercy in the midfield, but the cherry pick are going to be read in a double commit by FHDW. No one challenging him at the moment. Mercy might be able to take his time here, but they're going to leave it for Psycho. Psycho looking for a bump. It is going to be Mercy into the midfield now, and Raiko coming a little bit late to that one, isn't going to be able to get the shot off, blocked by FHDW, but we have a tie game now, and FHDW have done very well to come back from that 2-goal lead from Portsmouth.
Midoti passing it to Verfahren. It's a 1v1. Can Mercy stand up to it? He makes the save, but is it enough? It is not. Midoti finishes it off, and from 2-0 down, FHDW have completely turned this run around. Mercy may have made the save, but it was not quite good enough. It's 3-2 to the German side here.
Yeah, pretty unprecedented. I thought when Portsmouth scored those first two that we were starting to see the beginning of the end, but as you say, they've turned it around completely, although Portsmouth might have something to say about it. That's a great block by Midoti, jumping off that goal line. Might not have been the right decision, but in that instance he was able to get it. Psycho, I thought the fourth man was going to be required once more, but Psycho finding the net there.
Yeah, I mean, all three players cramped up on the FHDW defense. Psycho just walking along, minding his business. It's a textbook clonk into an open net, as he does indeed send it and avoid the fifth man, depending on which one's left and right. And suddenly, we're heading into the final minute here in Game 2. It is 3 goals apiece, and pretty much based off what we've seen, it's anyone's game right now.
Yeah, although that one is going to be put up dangerously. Raiko not able to get there. Psycho has a lot of work to do here to be able to try and defend this one, but Mercy is going to grab some boost and help him out with that near post. It's Psycho in control off the ball here. Might take his time. No boost, actually. Going to just have to put that one down to Midoti. Raiko tries to get a shot onto net, and it might force a double commit, which it has. Net is open, but it's thankfully dropped right onto the hood of Zim. Mercy's shot is way wide, but might be able to follow up here. Up dangerously. Psycho gonna beat out, and the demolition, it's off the crossbar and in. I thought it was Psycho. My apologies. It's Raiko who is going to be up for that shot and goal. A demolition was from Mercy.
Oh my goodness. It's because he's got the halo on. I think that's what it is. Raiko trying to blend in. I mean, he's a bit of an angel for Portsmouth right now. He's scored difference-making goals in both games here, and he could have just won Portsmouth this game too here. And of course, credit to Mercy.
Fake kickoff, though.
Brutal demo, and indeed a fake kickoff. Very, very confident play from Portsmouth here. Will they get a goal from it? I think they will. And it will be 5-3. And after all that effort by FHDW in this game too, it's pretty much just come to nothing. And it's quite a shame here.
Yeah, I think that could be a series defining moment, really. They threw everything that they had at Portsmouth, and they looked set to take a game off them and build some momentum, and Portsmouth have just come straight back and thrown it in their face again. Yeah. So, yeah, 2-0 series scoreline now in favour of Portsmouth. And you might say that this series is heading to a conclusion that a lot of us thought would come to fruition.
I mean, if we draw the comparisons with York again, with FHDW, York did get swept in the qualifying game, which led to Erasmus being the first open qualifying team into the EURC. Portsmouth looking to do the same here, but they do need one more game, and it could be a struggle if this next game is as close as what we have just seen there, as FHDW putting up a great fight, but unfortunately just wasn't quite great enough there. As I think, if they can score 3 goals in that game, then they can pretty much win any game. They just can't really afford to be conceding 5. At the end of the day, 12 shots on the side for Portsmouth is double that of FHDW. I mean, if I look over at the bracket, have we seen any other... Oh, Essex did beat Staffs, by the way. They won in game 3, 2-1 scoreline. So unfortunate for Staffs there. But that's back-to-back. And that's 3 back-to-back game 3s that Essex have just won, by the way. They are living life on the edge. And they will look to play Durham, who also won in game 3 over Newcastle this time. That would be an interesting series that I imagine, indeed, it will be our next series. But I'm not focusing on that anymore, because we have game 3 here, and it is match and qualification point for Portsmouth. But can FHDW deny them it here?
I'm really starting to think not, especially after that, last game where 2-0 down, they came back 3-2, everything was going their way, and then Portsmouth just kind of went, we forgot to shift into top gear, let's just do that quickly and win this one. So
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of their home stadium.
Yeah, it does look like Portsmouth in control now.
I mean, it's FHDW's home stadium. They're on DFH. They're FHDW. I mean, maybe they can pull out the win here, or are we thinking that the stadium advantage might not be good enough? I mean, maybe it'll cause their 4th and 5th man to start coming. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, placebo can be a wonderful thing if it's in your favour. If it's not, then yeah, it's not very nice. I don't know. I think Portsmouth have just kind of looked better and better after they, managed to take that game. Although the first goal is going to go in FHDW's favour here.
Yeah, I mean, nothing fancy about the Portsmouth defence here. 2 players commit. Neither one makes the block in Madodi. He just comes sweeping on through, nukes it into the net, completely blinds me. I can no longer see what's about to happen for the rest of this game, so I'm just going to go based off audio. It sounds like a kickoff is being taken. It sounds like Mercy is on the ball. I think I just recognise his distinctive engine sound. My ears really are just... Okay, no, I'm cheating. I'm actually looking. But still, a 1-0 lead for FHDW, and once again... Oh, hang on a minute. How long is it going to last this time? Raiko is up for the shot, and it hasn't lasted very long, has it?
No, maybe all of about 10 or 15 seconds. 4th man there, AFK, starting to be a little bit toxic,
How couldn't he block that? That shot was right next to the floor. Why couldn't the crossbar have blocked it, man? What the hell?
Yeah. It's not what we like to see in these tournaments.
No. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Zim's going to have to make this clear from the backboard, though. Oh, and it's a really good one. Ryko's going to have to go all the way back, and a good touch from him will effectively clear the ball straight back. But Zim is up again. It has to be a great shot, and a pretty solid one at that for the boost that he had at the time. Midoti is not going to give any space as FHDW, they are looking to put a grip on this Portsmouth defense, and respect to them for doing so and giving effectively no respect, as they could just sort of lie down and accept the loss at this point. But they know that a reverse sweep is not completely impossible, and if they could just pull it off, that's EURC qualification, and what a story it would be if they came back from this point. And credit to them, they are trying their hardest right now. As a 50 in the midfield will be bouncing back to Zim, who once again wins that ball in the air. Mercy will slap it across the field, though. Who wins this race to this challenge? Ryko will dunk it out. It's off the backboard. It's dangerous, but nobody challenging from Portsmouth until Psycho decides he's actually missed the fourth man there again. Not quite coming off the post, as Mercy will slap that ball again. It's a ping pong about the FHGW net, but no entirely dangerous shots are coming through yet, as they do clear the ball away. Verfahren going to be able to slap that towards the backboard. Thought he might have controlled it there. He had a few options, but at the end of the day, he picked one and it didn't quite work out. That's fair enough. Psycho takes the ball past one. Can he get it past two? As he dunks him, indeed. Doesn't need to get it past Verfahren, when Verfahren just has to, innocently, he's like, please, please, let me clear this ball. And Psycho's just like, no. And in it goes. Savage. No sympathy. It's 2-1 Portsmouth.
Yeah, Portsmouth, they had a 1-goal deficit, and now they've brought it back in the lead again, and looking to take the series in the minimum amount of games required. Oh, that one is actually going to sneak in, though. Every time I say Portsmouth look to be back in control, FHDW are just like, you know what, let's just score another one.
That fantastic shot completely bamboozled Psycho, who was still thinking about the goal he just scored. Now both teams have gone ahead, and now both their leads have just vanished instantly.
Yeah, and we are... Okay, thank goodness. I didn't have to say something clever or intelligent about that, because that was the least clever and intelligent play I've ever seen in my life. Zim now is going to try and dunk this one, which he does. It's dangerously in the center, but nobody from FHGW was there, and it's all the way over to the other side, literally at the blink of an eye. Portsmouth have just turned that dunk around, and Mercy over to Psycho absolutely slams that one over the defense.
Yeah, he is really hitting the shots here in this game 3, getting the third goal on the board for Portsmouth here, pulling them back in front. The question is, will this lead last all of but 10 seconds once again? As it's popped for Verfahren, he looks for the pass. They're looking for the team plays, and they've ended up confusing themselves on the side of FHDW. You've got to give them credit for trying, but it's not worked out here. But he gets back at the other end of the field and makes up for it there. I mean, I say makes up for it. It was perfectly fine that he was looking for the pass there, but a great save made nonetheless. As Midoti, he's going to look for the infield pass. They try it again. It kind of works. They work it into the Portsmouth corner, but all three players of Portsmouth are back in their end. It's going to be really hard to break them down here, as all they have to do is kill the remaining minute and a half, and they will have qualified for EUR 2021. But I say that, Zim's got something to say about it. He's going to just nip in there, catch them off guard, and equalise again.
It's literally every time, isn't it? Whenever we allude to Portsmouth qualifying or winning or being in the lead, FHDW score. Oh, can they hear us right now, do you think?
Possibly. Maybe like Psycho and Portsmouth can also hear us, and they're just deliberately trolling.
We should curse it. We should be like, so Portsmouth, despite being 3 goals apiece here, still looking like they're going to take this game. Ready, watch.
Oh,
I almost called it.
Oh my goodness, the save from Mercy, literally last second, didn't challenge Midoti at the shot. He was so confident he would save it, falling from the Portsmouth crossbar, and it turns out he was right, as somehow FHDW not pulling ahead here there, but could they pull ahead here with this shot? Yes, they can! Midoti reading the play off the wall beautifully after this scintillating pass from Zim. Portsmouth were just stood watching, and may or may not Mercy have got a touch to it, but it just wasn't strong enough, and it still goes in anyway. Into the final minute here, not only have FHDW outshot Portsmouth, but currently they have outscored them. They just have to hold on for 50 seconds, which usually is a bit of a test for them, mind you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to completely avoid any statements now which vaguely allude to some sort of prediction about a team scoring or staying in the lead. Yeah. I'm just going to go with the fact that Yeah, FHDW have reclaimed that lead now.
Don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. No, Portsmouth, they're looking for an opportunity here. Is Medote off that wall? Raiko not able to get to that one with limited boost to his name. Psycho, awkward touch. That's an interesting read from Farin. It's Mercy up now. Might look for a flip reset even here, but it's going to be over the top of Medote. Yeah, it's dangerously in that half at the moment. It's going to drop down.
It's down. It's actually down. FHDW are not York. You heard it here first. They have not been swept by Portsmouth. The only question that remains now is, will they reverse Portsmouth? I hand over to you, Curse Master Orion. Will they reverse sweep Portsmouth?
Maybe.
It
may or may not happen that they may or may not indeed, yes, reverse Portsmouth.
So what you're saying is we're in a quantitative superposition of states here, where
yes,
we haven't taken the measurement yet. So currently FHDW have both lost to Portsmouth and reverse swept them. You know?
Yes.
We know the two teams in the series, but we do not know the series score. But until we take that measurement, the wave function will not collapse under a specific scenario, because there are many parallel universes of which a different scoreline appears in this series. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
I'm going to do a bit of a Doctor Strange here, and I've analysed 14 billion different scenarios, and I've come up with only 2 that are possible. The first one is that Portsmouth win, and the other one is that FHDW win.
What if the servers lag out forever and we never get to play this?
Then just the Omniverse just implodes and we all die.
Cat, we never find out. We've really gone deep on this series. You realise how deep we've made this. It's 2-1 to Portsmouth. In case you haven't noticed, guys, that is the situation here. We head into Game 4, which is on Utopia Coliseum. Welcome back to reality.
But what is reality?
Oh, stop!
I'm joking. Portsmouth are going to try and look to make victory their reality. They are still on match point here, as we say. 2-1 scoreline. FHDW actually did really well, credit to them to take a game off Portsmouth there, despite going back and forwards more times than I can count. There was never really, one team that kind of gained momentum. It was just that whole game just felt like a seesaw between these two teams. And I imagine that this game might just be much of the same.
Well, I certainly would hope so. It is very entertaining, if so, as Mercy gets pull shot into that ball by Medote, but he will get the boost. So Psycho is allowed another shot, but he pings it towards the backboard. Vafaran down to Medote. They're doing a really good job of linking up in the midfield here, FHDW are, as Medote is going to have to watch Mercy go.
Mercy.
Can he do anything about it? The shot, but Vafaran with the save, and once again, the fourth man for FHDW making the save there, this time on Raiko's shot, coming off the post. But what a save from Vafaran. Somehow, we're still at 0-0 here.
Plays like that often require equally good saves, and it is going to be FH. No, it's not! Oh my goodness, what is happening right now?
I mean, how many of your 14 million scenarios had that coming?
None, actually. That was unprecedented.
That's not possible. You can't say that.
Oh man, that was crazy. Oh my God, Zip, the backflip save. This is crazy.
Both defenses making unbelievable saves, and if this keeps up, we'll be going at it all night. We'll be setting record overtimes if the defensive hold up this strong, because these attacking opportunities and shots are perfectly high quality, but the saves are just even better right now.
Yeah, absolute madness. I don't know how we're still scoreless with 2 minutes played.
You know the goal that actually goes in is going to be terrible now, don't you?
Yes, it will. Yes, inevitably, but we don't talk about that until it happens. But it is, it's an absolute slugfest right now. Like, the offense of both teams is exceptional, and the defense of both teams is equally exceptional, and we remain... never mind.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, never mind. Now we talk about it.
Midfield by FHDW is going to leave an open net runaway for Mercy to punish on, and he will lap it up happily here as we approach half-time. The game is far from over, but just to get FHDW back in the game, I will remind you that as things stand, Portsmouth will be the second team to qualify for EURC 2021 if they can just hold on for half a game here.
Yeah, well, no one really has any clue if that's going to be the case, to be honest, because we've seen back and forth in the previous game, and we've just seen, you know, last minute saves, or last millisecond saves, I should say, from both teams. Oh, the fourth man passing that one to Mercy. Beautiful shot there off the backboard, getting the double touch.
I mean, finally, with this double touch to put them 2-0 in the lead, is this finally Portsmouth showing no mercy, shall we say, and putting FHDW to bed? Or is there still more fight in the tank for them here? They've only had one shot in 3 minutes, though. I feel like it's really a big ask right now.
Yeah, it does seem like they're kind of, apart from, you know, that one shot that was saved miraculously by Portsmouth, it does seem like they have been kind of stuck in their own half quite a bit, or just stuck playing bim bam in midfield with Portsmouth. So yeah, no real kind of concrete opportunities created yet, apart from that one early on.
Well, Mercy will slap it against the sidewall and bring Ryko into the play, and it's a nice play from Portsmouth, who also gets Psycho into it, but Ryko unable to force it past Zim on the goal line there. A good save from him, as Farron doesn't quite find the 50 there with Mercy again, who's putting a lot of work in this midfield. Can he get it past Midoti? No. Greedy went for the flip reset, and Midoti just said, hell no to that. Zim dangerously out in front of his goal, but Farron responds in time to make the block there, although they're going to have to take risks like this at this point if they're going to be able to pull off this comeback, as we are approaching the final minute here in this qualification point. Game for Farron, looking to dribble it out of defense, but Ryko, who was already pre-jumping, still manages to get himself in the way. Zim has to try and get it past Psycho, but can't because he's got no boost. Psycho pinches it past Midoti on the wall, but he's going to get dunked out by Farron. Can he deny the Portsmouth boost? Yes, he can, but Mercy, he's got the ball, controlling it, looks comfortable, tries to play it underneath Midoti, but he does get that block. Farron can't get it past Psycho though, but it's dangerous towards the midfield. Zim with the shot, but he doesn't make contact, and Psycho will get it away to the side. You feel like they had to score there.
Yeah, that was the golden opportunity for FHDW to get back into this one. They did manage to overcome a 2-0 deficit against Portsmouth, and now it's a 3-0 deficit, and they haven't managed to do that all series long, and they're definitely not going to manage to do it in 24 seconds, I feel.
Yeah, this would be... I would accept it if you said in your 14 million simulations that this comeback didn't happen. I would accept it at this point.
I can neither confirm or deny.
Still no confirmed response, but it will be almost certain. Yes, it will. Okay, yes, it will effectively, certainly be Portsmouth as expected, but of course, massive credit to FHDW here. They've put up one hell of a series, and that bodes well for them, as they will have to try again in the lower bracket. They'll drop to the lower finals, where they will play, yeah, it's 4-0 Cycle. That's a great goal, man. Not going to be honest, guys. We don't really care that it's 4-0. You've qualified. Congratulations, of course, to Portsmouth, the second team joining, Erasmus Esports Rotterdam amongst the best who have already been invited from the European universities. And as I say that, dropping to the lower bracket will, unfortunately for them, be FHDW. They, I believe, will play the winner of Essex Blades against the Durham Defenders, which I do believe may be our next series on stream here.
I think that could be, unless we look to the other half of the lower bracket, in which case it will be UWE Sea Stags versus Beckett Bears.
I think that's on the UW channel itself.
Yes, it will be.
Which is interesting because, of course, Durham sort of screwed up their week one of NSE quite badly. And, I mean, they're trying to put a right to the wrong here, as it would be a very big result for them if they could upset Essex. As I feel like for their own confidence and mentality, it would be huge for them if they could qualify here. But not only will they have to get past Essex in our upcoming series, but, of course, then they'd also have to get past FHDW. And that is already proven and sounding like it could be quite a big ask.
Yeah, it does sound like quite a task, despite Portsmouth, for the most part, looking like they were outclassing FHDW there. They did look to be a decently strong team, and unless Essex or Durham can really take another step up here in the latter half of this bracket, FHDW, I really rate their chances of qualifying through those lower brackets.
Yeah. So, as saying, our next series on stream will be in the lower bracket, the lower semis effectively, Essex Blades against the Durham Defenders. Once again, congratulations to the Portsmouth Paladins, second team out of 12 qualifying for EURC 2021. We will be setting up the Essex-Durham match as fast as we can. We'll be right back as fast as we can, right after this break. Welcome back to the first EURC qualifier. Need I remind you that this is, of course, 4 teams qualifying for this qualifier. There are 3 of them, and you can still sign up for the remaining 2. 12 teams will qualify to compete with the best universities in Europe. And we have already seen Erasmus Esports Rotterdam and the Portsmouth Paladins qualify through the upper bracket. And now we're going down to downtown, is what I was going to say, as we are going to be having Essex against Durham in the lower semi-finals. And this is an interesting matchup, and I don't know if these 2 teams have ever played, certainly not recently, as I feel like I'd like to think I would remember it. But of course, Essex, I feel like, come in a slight favourite, seeing as, they finished 8th in league play last season. They finished 8th in playoff. They looked pretty solid in Society Showdown, especially considering they were in the super hard group. And then, Durham, when you talk about Durham, Orion, it's just really hard to not just consider them to basically be bipolar as a team. Their results are so up and down, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, up and down, a bit of a yo-yo Durham can be compared to. It's, they'll get a very convincing victory against a top team that we would expect to see, in the upper nationals of NSE, and then lose to, a team that they were expecting to beat.
On Tuesday, and it could have griefed their entire season because they may not get to nationals in this coming Tuesday. But it's okay, because double checked, week 1 of league play was the OG Game 5 overtime loss for Essex, in fact. Do you know who they lost to in Game 5 overtime in week 1 of last season?
Oh, I'm trying to... Wait, was it Durham?
It was Durham.
Oh, what a guess.
That's the last time these 2 teams played. So you could say it's maybe a bit personal, and this, of course, is a best of 5.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as you say, Essex, I would say, are the favourites coming in, and I think their consistency of results, maybe not in the past couple of days or so, but usually their results are pretty consistent relative to Durham. So
yeah, I think they would probably have been in the spot of FHDW, but they did end up losing to them in a best of 3. So credit to the German university side, of course, as Essex now instead find themselves here. And yeah, I do feel like across the board, as you're saying, Essex are probably the better team. But at the end of the day, the last matchup did go to Game 5 overtime, and I believe it was a 7-minute overtime, because I remember watching it from back as well, and Durham defenders did take it. Of course, the same Durham that put up a fantastic performance in qualifying for Society Showdown, and the same Durham that are on a decent run in this lower bracket. But let us not forget that Essex are, of course, on just as long a run throughout here as actually longer. They've just won, of course, 3 Game 3s in a row, whereas Durham only recently dropped and then beat Newcastle in Game 3. This, of course, as a reminder, is a best of 5. The winner will go and to face FHDW in order to qualify for EURC 2021, which, of course, if Essex do that, it would be a rematch from their upper bracket match.
Oh, wow. What was the score of that? I didn't catch that one earlier.
That was the Game 3. It was the Game 3 win for FHDW. That's why that's when the alarm bell started going off, and it was like, FHDW? Who are these guys? This is pretty good. Wait, they're German York is how we're basically...
German York, that's true.
We're obviously overwhelmingly British. We're just comparing them to York because they have quite similar storylines and are playing similarly well as Essex. Maybe they'll want that revenge, but at the end of the day, they do have to get through the Durham defenders first, as I do believe we have I'm going to punch my keyboard, all the teams in the lobby. So I'm going to let them know that they can get started, as we are, of course, back on the beautiful Manfield night. And we have the likes of Mordisha the Dishwasher in the lobby, but also Lexano, George Berg and Switch on the side of Essex. And I mean, I could easily see another Game 5 coming through here, but if either side, say, gets tilted, I mean, that's not out of the question for Essex, and certainly with how inconsistent we talk about Durham being, I have no idea what to expect out of this series.
Yeah, well, both of these teams, they have quite a fast-paced play style, which is, reliant on reading play very quickly and getting 50-50s in the midfield, and it's not necessarily about looking for each other as much. It's more a case of, just try and barrel through as much as you can and eventually cause the other team to crack. And honestly, I would say that in terms of pure speed, Essex tend to be the faster team, as there's going to be an outspeed there, as Switch is going to first blood to Essex there.
Yeah, I mean, Essex just outpacing and outmaneuvering Durham there in the Durham half. The double commit, neither one of them good enough to beat Switch's shot as it gets underneath both of them. It's an early lead for Essex here. And of course, I do want to mention the one thing we forgot to talk about after we've just come back from that break is the fact that Beckett Bears are on the most legendary lower bracket run we may have ever seen. And they have just reverse swept UWE Sea Stags. Literal reverse sweep there in Game 5. They, of course, will be our next series on stream after this, where, of course, they play against York in order to qualify for EURC. What a story that is for either one of them two teams.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, actually. You know, you probably would have said that neither of them would have been up for qualification. Maybe somebody would have predicted York on the off chance that, you know, they are really up and coming at the moment, but as you say, Beckett Bears on an absolute tear right now, and it really would be a fairy tale come true if they were able to beat York and qualify.
Certainly not in the first qualifier, the most stacked one, you'd have to think. And it's just like they're both these two teams making incredible runs. So it'd be a shame to see one of them have to go home. But those are the stakes that are at stake, shall we say. Whereas these two teams, you know, like we say, fighting for that chance to beat out FHDW in the other lower final for qualification, having to get through each other. And it is, of course, Essex here with the early advantage. And Durham yet to put a shot on the board after the first 2 minutes as Zouch is going to try and dribble out of the defense, but get immediately denied by George Burke. As this is what we say. I mean, Durham are really going to have to hit their stride if they're going to win this series. As Essex, they're just a very good team, aren't they?
Yeah, and Durham look quite kind of timid on offense. They're not really getting forward in numbers, whereas Essex are, and they're almost able to force one through there. Switch still in control here, trying to pop over the top, actually gets it. Zouch forced into a bit of an awkward touch, and it's straight back into Essex hands. That one's been sent away, but Switch again there to meet it. Durham are just kind of hitting and hoping that there's not an Essex player on the end of that ball, and 90% of the time there is.
Exactly. I mean, Zouch is going to maybe get a chance there, but the shot was nearly impossible, and likewise, Mordisha cannot turn it towards the Essex net either, as Lexno can take the Reds onto the counter-attack here. Lexno will miss the second touch, but George Burke nearly forces it through Zouch, but a good save from him. Mordisha off the ceiling, trying to keep it away from the Durham net, and Zouch will do likewise after Lexno's flick left a little to be desired. As it's dangerous towards the Durham net again, but Bop is back to make that save, no problem. Switch looking for the infield into Lexno. It's uncontested again. So freely Essex seem to be keeping the ball in the Durham half at times, as a nice passing play may get them off of it, but George Burke again meets them at the halfway line. Essex doing such a good job here.
Yeah, and that infield pass as well, you know, they kind of switched it up there completely, if you'll pardon the pun with Switch being on Essex, but they did really switch it up from going like just barreling into, all right, let's look for each other once. Now that we've, you know, convinced them, you know, tricked them psychologically into holding that back line, now we're going to go for an infield pass and see if we can make something work here. That time they went back to just the direct play, and it was George with a flick over the top and a shot of his own.
Zouch so close to keeping that out the net there, but as you say, George Burke just brute forcing it through the Durham defense there, and still they've only got one shot on the board compared to Essex's 9. This is starting to look quite dominating.
9.
Literally 9. All three of them have 3 apiece. It's beautiful. It's very even. It's not their shots. It's our shots, as they will, of course,
yes, comrade.
Yes. As there will be no more shots on the side of Essex, we must keep it 3 apiece for all 3 players. And well, Mordisha's just like, well, that doesn't involve us. I can take our second shot of the game and find the back of the net with that one, as they will catch the Essex defense there. A nice dunk from Bob, and George Burke just getting beaten out by Mordisha, who just wins that race to the ball. But of course, that is the difference that matters. They're still going to get another goal here, but they do have just over a minute to do it.
Yeah, that dunk is really going to throw a spanner in the works for the Essex defense there. I don't think they were expecting that one at all, but it seems like they've still got their composure. As I say, Lexano flies towards the ceiling in the most uncomposed way that I've ever seen someone fly at the ceiling.
So hard. It was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's Switch now with a one-on-one opportunity here. Going to choose to take that to the wall and try and get a flick into the middle. Mordisha now off the corner, trying to follow it up, but Lexano is there quickly. That's an awkward ball to deal with, and George Burke looking to go off the backboard. It's Zouch to clear away. Still dangerous as Switch is in control. Passes to Lexano in the midfield. It's a great shot, but Obop there in plenty of time to make that block. just hanging in that midfield now. If Durham are able to break out here, there could be a bit of an opportunity as Essex continue to press quite high.
Ooh, dangerous, but Bop defends it at the near post there, but the Durham defenders need to do more than just that. They need a goal, and there's less than 10 seconds left right now, but Essex are still pinning them in their end and killing off the time. The ball cannot touch the ground, and I'm sure it will right now. It will indeed. Game 1 goes the way of the Essex Blades, and I have to say, quite convincingly so.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many shots. Oh, they each got one more.
Yeah, it was a 4 apiece. Much, very satisfying. They kept it
very
nice and even. Got to respect Essex there, keeping things just fantastic. Only 2 shots apiece there for Durham. I say 2 shots apiece, just 2 shots as a team. So they may have been clinical. We can say 50% conversion, pretty good. Now, how about you take a few more shots? But realistically, they were penned in their half for so long. 7 saves to the just 1 on the side of Essex there. As on to the Forbidden Temple we go. And Essex, I don't know, Durham, More Disher has changed his name to More Dishwasher. I don't know if that will change their fates. I don't know just how much of an impact that will have, but maybe trying to get in the minds of the Essex players here is at this point, why not try anything? That really was, despite it being a 1-goal game, quite a convincing win for Essex there.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you on that one. The scoreline didn't really reflect the amount of pressure that Essex were putting on to Durham in that game. And I think we're going to see much of the same storyline going ahead into game 2 unless Durham can really, pick up the pace and just try and meet Essex and wait.
Hold up.
Okay, continuing. Just try and meet Essex and yeah, just outspeed them and make them think a bit more. Switch is not going to be able to read that one, unfortunately. Essex not able to get on the board early on there. No one really going for this one, although it is Lexino up now, but Zouch right underneath the ball, able to just launch himself into it. Zouch might turn on this one. I think he was going to leave it for a teammate, but I think they're like, in those kind of instances, Essex are just kind of like going for like the fastest touch they can possibly get, and so I think it's really up to Durham just to try and go for the ball that little bit earlier and, be a bit more selfish just to maintain possession.
Yeah, that is fair enough. But, I mean, it's already been a better start to this game, too, and they're sort of trying to do just that, as the ball's spending a lot more time in the Essex end already, as Bop will put a hopeful touch towards the net, although not with much threat at all. George Burke going to absolutely clap the More Dishwasher to the ceiling. He's going to have to recover there and dry himself out after that one, as Zouch is going to have to put it down into the Essex end once more. Again, just keeping it there is the start of building up some offense. You never know when a loose touch may come through, or likewise a dunk that got them a goal there in that game 1, as Zouch will get beaten out by Lexino as he pulls out of that challenge. Oh, what an infield passing play, and oh my goodness, doesn't end up in the Durham net, and I'm not sure how. Switch didn't put it in from point blank range. I don't know whether he meant to miss it because it completely faked out the first defender, but the ball actually coming off the Durham post. I'm still trying to process quite what happened there. As Lexino putting another shot towards the net. I mean, this is ridiculous, but somehow, I mean, maybe not if they own goal right now, as, okay, More Dish will put it across the net. Yes, okay, recap. What did just happen there?
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't know. I was just kind of stunned watching that entire series of events unfold. It's not going to result in a goal off the post here. Switch might be able to follow it up, but just going to let Bop take it straight past him with 0 boost. Weakest flip I've ever seen is going to find its way to the Dishwasher, who puts an equally weak shot onto net. Zouch up high now. George Burke has control of it. Might get another touch in. Not able to get the block with 0 boost. Switch missing his touch as well, and it's up to Lexino now to bail his teammates out. Lexino trying to go over the top, but More Disher wise to that one. That's a shot on target again for Essex. These shots just seem to be piling up as they did in the previous game now, but still we remain scoreless.
Yeah, I mean, both sides have had their offense during this game so far, but Essex seem to be so much more adept and better at just really tightening that grip and actually sort of being like a boa constrictor and just keeping Durham in their end and just not really giving them any space to breathe. Whereas when Durham go, get it into their end, it's just like this. Immediately, the ball's back with Essex and they're happy to clear. I mean, a good challenge there will keep them in their end. As I say that, More Dishwasher with a chance, but gets saved out well by Lexino, as Essex will now look to transition. But will they be allowed to? No. Again, Durham are trying to prove me wrong and doing a good job of putting the pressure on Essex here as they instead find themselves with the ball in their end, but denying the boost will be George Bogue, and then turning and going, then come at me then. Just takes the challenge, 50s it into the Durham corner. Switch will now pick up the ball at the midfield, bounces off the corner wall. Zouch popping it high. Can he get the ball past the 2 defenders here?
No way.
Shot as the shot does come through from more Dishwasher on the rebound. He tucks that one into the net. It will be a 1-0 lead, and the first time they've been in the lead so far this series for Durham.
Yeah, that's a great lead for Durham there with not too much time left on the clock. There's definitely still time for Essex to come back, and with the amount of shots that they've been putting onto net consistently throughout this game and the previous one, you wouldn't put it past them to equalise. The Switch is going to look to do just that. Zouch just able to reach that. I didn't think he had much boost to his name, so he did well to just tip that onto the backboard for one of his teammates to collect. It is still in that orange half, but it's going to be the Dishwasher sending it away. It's into the corner now. Zouch is going to have to try and clear this one. It's not the best clear either, but he's able to land on it. George now, that's great. They're catching Obop out. Lexino with a shot, and that one is going to be good from Lexino underneath the defense.
I mean, that is just unfortunate. More Dishwasher needed a little bit more boost to reach that one. I think he just screwed up the technique a little bit, unfortunately, there for Durham, as Bop unable to save Lexino's shot, which was nicely tucked in the center of the net with a good, sprinkle of power on it. Will be equalizing for Essex here in the final minute, and that's a big equalizer if they go on to win this game, as that would put them 2-0 up in the series here as opposed to just 1-1, and that really does completely change the tone in the entire best of 5. I feel like the game 2s are so underrated in just how much they really do set that tone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, Durham, despite only being a 1-goal lead, Durham really did have to fight for it. And they lost it almost instantly. And Essex now look to be carrying a bit of momentum with Switch popping it up. Zouch has a very awkward touch to make, but he's done really well with it, taking out 2 of those attacking players from Essex. It's Mordisha now. Not many tablets left in the tank, and he has to do something with it. George Burke might be able to get a 0-seconder here. It's going to be in the corner. Switch looking to keep things up. Lexino might have a shooting opportunity. It is Obop into the corner. It's going to bounce up, though. Lexino, 0 boost. George Burke opts to keep this one up. Mordisha is going to try and find something, but it is going to touch the ground, and we go to an overtime here in game number 2.
Such a huge overtime, especially for Durham here if they were to pull this series equal, but Essex, you could easily see doubling their advantage here, and they are already pressing Durham back against their end. But Lexino is going to have to get back here in time, and he does so very well, buying enough time for Essex to rotate back here. But is in the net and ready to respond, but Switch meets it immediately in the corner. Bob has to make the touch, but it's only as far as George, but he's got no boost. Misses the touch, but Lexino, he comes across immediately, cleans things up, and now George has got that mid boost. The pressure begins again for Essex. More Dishwasher with the touch down the line. Lexino should be there in time, and he is. The question is Ash towards the net, and Bob just about answers in time there. Nicely taking that away from the Durham net. Can he do any more here? Flicks it out to the midfield, but Mordisha does miss the touch. Means that George Burke towards the backboard. Is there an answer? Both players faking each other out there as Switch pops it high, but pops out a boost. Somehow his attempt faking out Lexino, though, as Essex do not convert as we are heading into a second minute of overtime here. Switch is up. Does he get this touch? Not quite. Zouch is going to beat him out there. Again, though, Essex, they're always looking, and so many Durham defenders always back and just feeling pressed into their own half as Bob will miss that touch again. Switch up onto the backboard, but George Burke a tiny bit too close, means he has to lean back just to reach the touch and can't put it towards the net. Bob jumping really early. Oh my goodness, Zouch with an incredible recovery to make the save there, as I was sure that Lexino was about to just finish them off here in this overtime, but somehow Durham continue to hold on as Bob again high out the defense. Switch meeting it again, and just Essex, surely they will break through. Bob denies them again as George Burke into the corner. Can Zouch reach it? He's got the boost, but can he block the shot? He can. Lexino from the midline again slapping it at the Durham net. Bob blocks it again. Switch towards the midfield, but I think Zouch is the only one there, and he is, but Lexino somehow dunking it out. Can Switch get the boost? It looks like he can. They keep the ball on the offense, but Bob is in the corner to meet it, taking it around the wall. George Burke slaps it across the field. Can Zouch reach it? I don't think he can. Lexino is up. Does get the 50 with him. It bounces towards the midfield, but Bob is there first. But again, George Burke, Essex continuously keeping this ball in the Durham end, and a miss from Mordisha, but the Zouch block again. This man has made 3 crucial blocks, but can Durham actually get down the other end and do something? It looks like they can't keep the ball for more than 2 seconds. George Burke out into the midfield, Switch up towards the backboard. Can Mordisha make the block? He can, and we still hold this overtime at a deadlock. It is still 1-1 here in game 2.
Yeah, and Durham have done nothing this overtime except hold on. I'm not even sure that they put a shot onto net during this overtime. Essex have been utterly dominant so far. It does seem like Durham is starting to wake up now, but that infield pass is going to be to absolutely nobody. Switch has no boost, but Disha, it might be George over the top here. It's very awkward for Bop. It's off the crossbar. There's double commits. There's flails and flops left and right from Durham, and you can only think that something is going to come through for Essex soon.
There's no way. Like, if Essex lose this overtime now, that is so frustrating.
No.
Oh, you thought there, you were worried for a second as Mordishwa towards Bob. The shot, but George Burke, he makes the block, but Zouch is up fast. He shoots, it bounces, it goes in, and it doesn't matter if you take 100 shots at the Durham net. They go up the other end. Their first shot in what feels like 5 years since the dinosaurs, but it doesn't matter because Zouch, he tucks it in under one and over the other, and Durham have pulled even here in the series.
I can't quite believe what I've just witnessed there. Essex must feel like they've been absolutely robbed there. Like,
yeah,
Essex looked incredible. Like they looked like the best that I've seen them play this season. I think I've casted maybe 1 or 2 of their series in that, and they looked unstoppable in that overtime. And Durham won it. Durham won that overtime. Like, I'm just repeating that just for anyone out there who does not believe that. Somehow, Durham were able to overcome all of that pressure and were able to score and tie this series up at 1 apiece. I'm completely blown away.
I mean, you have to think that's such a rebuttal for Essex to have to handle now. You think that's such a slap to the face to more than double outshoot the opponent who took no shots in that overtime until they finally got into your end. And the one question your defense got asked in that overtime, and it immediately crumbled. That is so frustrating if you're an Essex fan, or worse, an Essex player, that somehow this has now become a best of 3 and Durham are still so very much in this. When, I mean, you think about that overtime, you didn't even know if they'd even shown up. But 1-1 is the score in games, and we have to go again here in game 3.
Yeah, man. I think Essex still have the momentum going forwards. Like, you know, you look at the scoreline and yes, Durham won it, but Essex did look very, very, very good in that overtime for the majority of it, and right up until the moment that ball bounced in front of their net and the goal went in. So I don't think we can count Essex out, but I also don't think with, you know, an upset like that we can count Durham out here.
That's true. As once again, we pick up where we left off, and the ball does not seem to want to leave the Durham end, as Bob trying to take it out, does get bumped by Switch, but still gets to it with a lovely ceiling shot there. Lexano forced to respond from the backboard. It's dangerous towards the net. Ball save out of George Burke, but he does make it indeed. Lexano looking for the block here on Zouch, but Zouch beats out both of them. It's dangerous looking for the double, but Switch, calm and collected, gets the ball past 1 and then 2, but does pay with his life as more Dishwasher going to take this one up, but immediately don't. By Lexano. Zouch has to try and do the same now, taking it out the wall, but doesn't have too much boost, so George Burke going to put that one around towards the net. Switch, fakes out one, going to get past 2. The shot, Bop just making the most crucial block there to deny Switch the opening goals. It would have been quite a tasty one indeed, as Durham again proving that their defense, as much as they always seem to be forced back onto it, it does hold when it needs to.
Yep, well, they're called the Durham Defenders for a reason by the look of things, as Essex have just thrown everything in the kitchen sink at them, and their defense has managed to hold for the most part.
Indeed, as Bob towards the backboard. Zouch looking for the follow-up. Suddenly, Essex, I mean, you have to say when Essex are on defense, they do. I mean, to be honest, I can't say that Durham look comfortable on defense. It just somehow seems to be working, but not if George Burke does dunks like that. I mean, whip out the donuts, because Switch towards the midfield. Mordish is just like, I'm just going to clear this ball, and George Burke's like, no! And just completely terminates the clear right there and then. Tucks it in the bottom right-hand corner. And now, Durham defenders are going to have to attack. And I'm not sure they've been programmed to do this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next.
They defend, but can they attack with 2 Cs, obviously? That will remain to be seen. But yeah, that goal from Essex, they've been holding quite a high line for the majority of this series when they've been, you know, going on offense against Durham. In that instance, that high line was right on the goal line, and I really don't think that Durham were expecting George Burke to be quite that close and dunking it into the net in the way that he did.
No, it's about as high as a line can go, I think.
Yes.
If you're going to challenge them from inside their goal, which would be quite difficult.
Here comes Lexner.
Denied by Zouch. She was making all these important blocks, but at the end of the day, we can complement this Durham defense as they do double commit there. But it means nothing if they're no longer now getting on the offense and trying to attack, as Essex, you know, they've got them on a timer here, and that is what matters, and that is they've got the important breakthrough goal. But I believe they did do the same last game, right? And then Durham did end up equalising, or did they get the first goal? I can't remember.
Durham got the first goal with just about a minute left on the clock, and then Essex equalised no more than about 10 seconds later, I believe. And then we had that monster overtime in which Durham somehow managed to win it.
Yeah, Mordisha did just get back in time to deny Lexano there, as Bob has to clear from the back with no boost, but Zouch follows it up and takes 2 players out the game. Bob doesn't have any boost, though. Mordisha had already pushed so far up, and suddenly the counter-attack from Durham looks so awkward, but Switch is going to be unable to put it into the net. But can George Burke? The Essex players are queuing up here, but none of them is allowed to pass, as Mordisha, the dishwasher, does block the crucial shot there from George Burke, as Switch, he's up from the wall here towards the backboard, but can't get it past Mordisha again. But George Burke with the shot towards the net, and the save didn't come through in time. And once again, George is the difference here. Now with a brace here in this crucial game 3 here, doubling the lead for Essex.
Zouch was millimetres away from that. I think he was pre-jumping either for a shot or maybe an Essex player was going for a bump, so he was up in the air and then had to land and go for that save. Usually that would have been quite a routine one to make, but in that instance he was just a bit too slow to it. Switch is going to look for a very flashy play of his own. Durham now have a bit of a mountain to climb here.
Crikey, I mean, Mordisha, oh my goodness, George Burke did cut out the pass. He nearly put it in the top corner of the Essex net, but it turned out to be a fantastic block from him, as Lexano will put that ball off the defense to George once again, who blocks it out. Can he get a second touch? Not quite. Bob is going to meet that one high in the midfield. As Switch, he gets challenged past. Mordisha did make that block, as Durham again forced onto their defense, but it's not where they want to be playing right now, as Zouch will pummel the ball down towards the Essex end, but it immediately gets sent right back. And into the final 30 seconds here, Essex are feeling fine and dandy about this one, I should imagine, as Mordisha does fake out one on the wall here. He's got to do so much in so little time, and he nearly does hit Zouch with the rebound, but I don't think anyone could have been ready for quite what Mordisha had just done there. 15 seconds left on the clock now. I just can't see Durham doing it. Essex are not Bath. There's no way they'd get the 2 goals. Surely Essex move to match point here.
Yeah, I think that is going to be match point. Essex as Switch puts the nail in the coffin with that ceiling shot. Players giving him a lot of time there and manages to get that ceiling shot off. Zouch not there and Both not able to jump high enough for it. Great play from Switch there to finish out this game.
I mean, looking happy in the red there, and just like the red, that is the cherry on top of this game 3 here. That 3rd goal, really just wrapping it up with a ribbon, really. I mean, it couldn't really have gone much better for Durham. For Durham. For
I think it could have, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably could have gone a bit better for Durham. I think there's a few things. They could have scored. They could have not conceded 3 goals, but I don't know if Switch is scoring highlight reel plays, moving on to match point, then I do believe that Durham should be pretty worried going into game 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Essex scored first and then scored second and third and didn't let Durham score at all. Durham put a decent amount of shots onto net, to be fair. There was 6 attempts from them, 3 of which were saved by Essex, and I'm assuming the other 3 were off target. But yeah, Essex put a whopping 12 onto net in that instance, of which 6 were saved. So yeah, Durham, their defense did not look quite as good in that game either. It was a bit more lackluster, and there were a few more gaps opening up that Essex were able to capitalise on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the story of game 1. A lot of these games, just the same story. Essex really are just outpacing and outmaneuvering Durham, not just as individual players, but also as a team. And it's just like, when Durham aren't on their day, and I would consider this to be a pretty decent day for them. They've had some pretty decent...
Yeah, they look good.
Not one of their days, you know, where everything's sort of working out for them. And, you know, of course, they do have their terrible days, which is clearly doesn't seem to be. But realistically, Essex is just showing that they're a slightly different caliber of team so far.
Yeah, I have to agree. But that was a decent attempt from Durham there. It's just going to be put wide. Mordisha tries to 50-50 switch, but Switch has got it round 2, got it round 3, even if there's any Essex players there. Oh, Mondisha just getting back in the nick of time. It's going to be Obop now trying to get a 50-50. Actually fakes one out, but I don't think he has any boost to work with the pass. Very half-hearted, just shows exactly that. And Switch was looking for a bump there on Mondisha, who is able to now just take this ball slowly again. No boost once more. Maybe the Essex players are just being able to control that boost situation and starve out Durham and keep them in their half quite a bit. We haven't really picked up on that at all yet.
No, it'd be interesting to see the stats, and you upload them and you check out the boost, and then suddenly it's just like Essex had literally twice the boost of Durham. But I don't know, if they're double committing for plays, then they can only blame themselves for a bit of wastage of boost there, as Essex once again starting to look comfortable here in this game 4. No double touch will come through there, but again, more pressure. Lexano putting it towards the backboard of Durham, does pinch it across to the other end, but guess what? George Burke is there denying that Durham boost and blocking. Box clear. Mordisha's got to buy time, but he also has to try and get it past Switch. He does so well and fakes it low, but can he do any more? Gets a 50, but it's into the midfield, but Zouch does win the race. He switched the hard read, does try and make it. I think he had it, but the shot's going to come through from Zouch after the touchdown from Mordisha. Bop tries to force it through. Mordisha's there, but the save from George Burke. He made the difference in the previous game, and he's already made a huge difference here in game 4 to keep us at 0-0 there.
Yeah, Lexano now barreling down that right-hand side, trying to make something work. It seems like Essex are kind of just going as 1, 2, and 3 at the moment, and I feel they do play at their best when they're trying to link up with each other. It looks like they're trying to play as a team of individuals right now instead of a team, but it does look like it's going to actually work for them as George goes through the whole Durham defense there, picks that ball up in the midfield, pops over Zouch. One player was just flying for some reason that I don't know, and Mordisha was not able to get to the shot either.
I mean, George Burke 12, the cross platformer. I mean, what a performance he has been having in this series. And if that could be, you know, the difference-making goal here in Game 4, then he's absolutely the MVP of it so far in my eyes. Been an absolute thorn in the side of Durham this entire series, and continuing to do so with that opening go-ahead goal that could put them in to the lower finals, as he's again sending it deep into the Durham end, and all 3 players back in the Durham end once again. They, as you say, are called the defenders, but it's just, that's not the point right now. They got half a game and they need a goal, and maybe they don't have the boost to try and do it, but something has got to change, because right now Essex, they've just set up shop in the Durham half, and it is honestly fair to ask the question that, again, we have no idea how Durham did get that game 2, because it was very, very against the run of play, and unless something changes drastically here, then this is just going to be another sort of, not freebie because they've earned it, but like run-of-the-mill expected win based off what we've seen in the game so far for Essex.
Yeah, and every time Durham do start to look like they can, you know, kind of get out of their half, they're just kind of stuck on the sidewall or in the middle of the pitch just with no boost, and Essex just walk up to them, take the ball off them, and start putting shots on the net again. So Essex are really doing a lot of things right here in terms of coordinating their attack and making sure that Durham aren't able to get out of their own half and transition onto offense.
Oh, Maxino not going to be able to turn here in the midfield. Bob will get it past, but Switch is there to intercept. Can he get the reset? Doesn't quite manage to get down to challenge Zouch in time, who looked to flick. He gets the flick off, but it ain't good, and it ain't soon enough, because Lexano is coming in, and it's not the first dunk we've seen by Essex so far in this series. And the Durham net, left uncharacteristically open, is going to get punished immediately here. 2-goal lead for Essex. And based off what we've seen here, they may have 1 minute and 20 seconds. But can you really see Durham coming back right now?
I really don't think so. I think the main thing that they're struggling with, as I've said previously, is boost. Like, even on that play there, I think Zouch found himself in the midfield with absolutely nothing. I even saw his car dart slightly left just to pick up a small pad so that he could try and get some sort of flick of a Lexano, and Lexano is like, you know what, I'll be having that, and that's going straight in your net. Thank you very much. So he had 2-0 now on the side of Essex, and I don't really think that they're going to be able to come back from this one, unfortunately.
I mean, the time is bleeding off the clock here. Durham, of course, if they could get this game, would force the game 5. And it feels so weird saying that after 90% of the time the ball seems to be in their end. There's a great shot from George, but a great save from Bop as well. Mordisha clears from the backboard, but again, Durham permanently on the ropes here against this hungry Essex side who want to go to the lower final. They want to qualify right now. They want to be in them first 4 teams qualifying, where they would, of course, go on to face FHDW, the German side. But right now, they have put Durham away handily, unless we see an incredible comeback in these final 10 seconds here. And I don't know if you're FHDW watching this right now, this Essex performance has been controlling, it has been violent, it has been dominating. And I would be worried if I was them, as Essex, you know, could very well go on to qualify comfortably from here if they control the next series, if anything like this one.
Yeah, well, the Essex Blades are looking razor sharp right now, if you'll pardon the pun, but Durham, their playstyle really played into Essex's hands there. Essex are just, you know, they're all go. There's just go, go, go until the defense cracks. And Durham, you know, playing to their name as well, were just happy to sit back on defense and let Essex just walk all over them. I think Essex are going to have a harder time against is it FHDW? It's so hard to remember. FHDW, yeah, because they definitely didn't sit back and roll over. They had some good opportunities, and towards the end of their previous series, they were trying to look for those infield passing plays. So they know what works, and I think Essex maybe could be surprised when the other team actually leaves their half for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and well, our next series will not be the Essex Blades. That will be our last series of the day. It will feature a particular Beckett Bears, who, need I remind you, haven't won a series in the upper bracket today. They got a bye against the Birmingham Beavers, and then they lost 2-0 to Erasmus Esports Rotterdam, who of course have already qualified through the upper bracket. Now, they beat York, a particular team that, you know, these Beckett Bears may be facing. Beckett Bears dropped to lower bracket. They beat the Birmingham Badgers 2-0. Then they beat Northern Lions 2-0. Then they beat Esports 20 2-0. And then they reverse swept UWEC Stags 3-2. And suddenly they have found themselves in the qualification match for EURC 2021, going up against the new hotshot. It is York University right now, a team that has really broken out the sort of regional mold that they had started setting in over the past year for themselves, and really stepped up their performance to a sort of level that we would have expected more of them. And we saw that in Society Showdown, we saw that in the qualifiers, and we've started to see it already again here today, as they made it all the way to that qualification final in the upper bracket before losing to, of course, you know, Erasmus Esports Rotterdam. So it will be the Beckett Bears against the York pun name. We'll set that lobby up as fast as we can, and I think it's going to be very, very fast as soon as the teams join these lobbies, and who knows how quickly we will be back. But it will be the shortest of breaks, and you can get out your stopwatch and time it already, because we will see you right after it.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare, 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. Why I gave you everything, held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares through. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas, oh you meant the world to me. Oh you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas, oh you meant the world to me. Oh you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, oh I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas, oh you meant the world to me.
It is the EURC qualifiers, and of course, qualifier number 1. You know that, of course, we're down to the final 2 qualification matches, and the first one we have on stream right now is the Beckett Bears against the University of York, of course, known as York pun name, and have always been known as York pun name, to be fair. Ryan, have you ever figured out that name? I'm going to be honest, I feel like it's a pretty low-tier name. I mean, they could have actually gone for a pun name. I feel like it's...
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that there was a pun name pending, and then they just went, you know, we can't really be bothered to think of one, so here is, you know, the lowest effort pun name that we can think of. Should we get York a name? Get this trending, hashtag find York a pun name.
Find York a pun name. It's nearly as bad as Nottingham. They call themselves temp name things, as in temporary name, and it's been that way for like nearly a year now.
That seems more of a permanent name thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty annoying. As I mean, you know, let's not let the name of the teams take away from the ability of the sides that we have about to face off here for a qualification spot into EURC. Literally going to get to play against the best universities in Europe. I mean, they've got contrary runs to each other. York went flying through the upper bracket, then dropped, whereas Beckett Bears dropped and then went all the way through the lower bracket. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Of course, in week 1 of NSE, this Tuesday just passed, York had a pretty good time. They won 2-1, as you'd probably expect. They went 2-1. Unfortunately for Beckett Bears, though, in their pretty, incredible Game 5 reverse sweep that Newcastle pulled over them, them only having that one win means that they're going to have to win all 3 of their games this coming Tuesday. And that's a huge ask for them in order to qualify for the National League on, of course, this coming Tuesday. So, maybe Beckett Bears feel the need to sort of prove a point. I feel like this run has already proved quite a point. Certainly the reverse sweep over UWE to put a cherry on that. But I don't know. I would consider the York the favourites because of that. But, I mean, Beckett Bears clearly trying to show that they're a force to be reckoned with, certainly today, and probably, to go on with.
Yeah, absolutely. That both of these teams are kind of teams that we've seen have a bit of a meteoric rise or at least a step up from last season. So York look great in all competitions at the moment. I've seen them play in both NSE and the Newell so far this season, and they've looked to be the better team against any opponent I've seen put in front of them so far. Granted, I haven't seen them play, the cream of the crop. We're talking the Bournemouths and the Portsmouths and the Loughboroughs. But yeah, York do look like a really solid team. But then again, yeah, Beckett Bears have had an absolutely stellar run, and coming off a reverse sweep like that, I imagine that they're on a literal hype train right now, and if they qualify, will probably just implode.
Well, we do have both the teams, York and Leeds Beckett, in the lobby here, back on Manfield Night for this best of 5, deciding the 3rd out of the 4 qualifying spots for today. And what a statement it would be for both of these teams. Like we were saying earlier, nobody would have bet on either of these two teams being, one of the ones to qualify through this first open qualifier. So for whichever one does win this series, it really has been just a great day, and it is great to see. But at the end of the day, they're going to be taking lumps out of each other to be that one team, because one of them is going to be going home and is going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're starting off kind of pretty even here, although Tinney, he got the fake, he got the second one. It might be over the top of Mosley, but I think he just took a bit too big of a bite there and wasn't able to find the end result. But the fake just showing that the BM is there from the outset.
Certainly, you think if you're on Leeds Beckett, that's going to certainly question the nerves, which you're already trying to quell a bit after Tinney nearly flexing on you there. But as you say, his eyes were a tiny bit bigger than his stomach, and he couldn't quite find the finish to top it all off, as Rahu's going to have to half-lip well to get this recovery, and he does so indeed, and follows up with a block. But York looking just that little bit hungrier right now, as Mosley has to get the touch in the corner, but he does. Lady Penelope gets completely chatted on the 50 by Mosley there, as Tinney will pop it towards the corner. Oh, no demo found. I don't know how he's lived there. Very strange, but Lady Penelope is going to clear it down towards the corner. Can the clear come through? Can anyone get back in time on Leeds Beckett? Yes, Maddie will get back in time. Away to the right-hand side. Penelope does not turn. Means that Maddie can clear it high into the York end here, as we are still at 0-0 here in this game 1. And Lady Penelope will send it back down the line. A little bit of back and forth, but York looking dangerous here. But again, Maddie now coming across with the block. And it feels like when York do go forward, they are looking quite a little bit more dangerous right now.
Well, I don't know. Did you watch much of York's series earlier when they dropped down to the lower bracket?
I was eating at the same time, but I was keeping an eye on it. Keep an eye on that shot, as that's the first time that the Beckett Bears may have looked dangerous. But that's a great shot in order to do it with Tinney's poor clear off the backboard. Not that he could have done tons more in the situation, getting punished with an absolute stonk there from Mosley.
Yeah, well, I was going to say York, their downfall earlier was their offense was pretty exceptional, but their defense just was the complete opposite. They often left themselves wide open on defense with a big gaping hole where there probably should have been a player making a block or getting back in time to make a save, and that player just wasn't there a lot of the time. So York sometimes find themselves pushing up a little bit too much and have to scramble back, and it does end up costing them. So I think if York can iron out that mistake, then they're almost a near perfect team. Whereas if they continue to play like that and leave those gaps on defense, I think slowly but surely the Beckett Bears will start to tear them apart.
That was a fair bit of defense shown by York, as a slap from Tinney will be just off the mark, and Beckett Bears remain 1-0 in the lead as we cross half-time here. Mosley in the 1v1 situation, but no more boost to work with, means that JavaScript making a very important save there. As dangerous towards midfield, Maddie was unable to punish though in a double commit. York, as you were saying, they do look rather panicked on their defense here, and if Beckett Bears can keep them in it a bit like Essex did to Durham, then I think they'll be having a lot of success, as you know, nobody's going to look more happy in defense than Durham, but it didn't even then work out for them, as JavaScript is looking to find Tinny, but Tinny just rotating back, going to try and turn. Going to get a little bit confused between the two of them, but they have worked it out with Tinny popping it towards the backboard. Rahu doesn't make the touch, but Mosley does. Can he get any further here? JavaScript's going to have to make the clear from the backboard. Controls it. Maybe not too well, but he's going to be able to follow it up no problem as Maddie slaps it towards the corner, but a good read from Tinny. I say that as he actually misses. Mozzie going to be able to turn and pick this one up as JavaScript actually denying him the touch. Rahu slaps it towards the net, and another double commit from the York defense as Leeds Beckett. They really are pressing here as they don't even need this second goal, but they are pinning York in their end as Mosley just terminates it into the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, brace for Mosley now. That shot off a very weak clear from JavaScript. Probably should have left that one for Tinny, but it just seems like miscommunications are really costing York on defense at the moment. They had a great spell of offense straight out of the blocks, but now that the game has gotten going, it does seem like the Beckett Bears are starting to break them down.
Yeah, the Beckett Bears, let's not forget, they're off the back of, I believe, 5 series wins in a row in this lower bracket, including that reverse sweep against UWE, who most people would definitely say would be a sort of different caliber of, oh my goodness, Mosley not quite finding the flip reset there. As I would say, different caliber of opponents, the likes of UWE. Yet that reverse sweep, such a statement result. But York, who have been making statements themselves over the past month or so, they're looking a little bit shook right now, as just they may have looked better in the first minute or so, but ever since Beckett and Bears have got their engine running, they've been looking fantastic. And York having to go back to the drawing board right now as Beckett Bears continue to ping the ball around their half. Lady Penelope unable to make the save as Mosley gets his hat-trick. And as you were saying, the York defense does at times leave a bit to be desired.
That one, Lady Penelope, must have thought it had a little bit more pace on it, and the floating shot is going to find its way into net, and we have a 3-goal cushion on the side of the Beckett Bears. I don't think that York are going to be able to come back from this one unless that kickoff goal from Lady Penelope goes in, which it doesn't, although that one might find its way in here. But JavaScript was being hounded by Rahu, who was like, well, there's not going to be a third man, unfortunately, to shoot that one because I'm going to go and kill him.
That is pretty much the message that was sent, in other words, as Rahu happy to slam it onto the York backboard. As this game one, it is all but over. These final 13 seconds just a formality, as Beckett Bears, on the back of winning 3 games in a row against UWE, are going to win a 4th here, taking the first game against York and putting themselves one step closer to EURC qualification. And let's not forget, this is a team that probably won't be making National League this coming Tuesday. However, if they do play like this, then maybe I better hold my tongue and see what happens this coming Tuesday. But you'd still think, you know, they were reverse swept by Newcastle in Game 5 overtime. A huge result that they could still be feeling down about right now. They could still be feeling sorry for themselves, you know. But no, they picked themselves up. They've learnt from it. And they're clearly playing so much better right now because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. York did look pretty stunned there, to be honest. And they also looked pretty stunned in their previous matchup. It was just, I think there were about 5 goals that went in against York that looked exactly the same, where 2 players were just pushed up way too high and the ball just went in from the midfield into an open net. That wasn't the case in the previous game, but York still look like they're rattled from that defeat in the upper bracket.
Yeah, well, we head into the game 2, and certainly York could do with a goal here, not just for a nice lead to experience, but just for their own confidence in general, as they certainly could have got one at the start of game 1. So maybe we will see something similar here, and lo and behold, 11 seconds is all it takes. Lady Penelope, just more like a bulldozer, just steaming through the Beckett Bears net there. Mosley getting completely shunted out the way. And it's going to be an early lead, and exactly what York needed.
Yeah, they're going to get on the board for the first time this series now, and crucially, it's a lead with only 11 seconds gone. But Beckett Bears have the entire game to come back from that, and they put 3 past York last game, so I'm sure that they definitely got something up their sleeve for this one.
JavaScript again, sending it hopefully towards the Beckett defense. A double commit, making them look messy, but a big block from Rahu. A brilliant recovery in the air from him, but at the end of the day, JavaScript again pummeling the Beckett Bears backboard as now York falls back in their end as Mosley pokes it high off the backboard, continuing the race to the ball. He does, but he doesn't actually make contact, so thankfully for them, the Beckett Bears shot by Mosley was off target. Maddie, he appears to make a touch now off the back ball, but Tinny's going to win that one out. Can he get it high towards the midfield? He tries to. It's off the ceiling. Lady Penelope surely can't work the angle as Mosley does come across here. And he does whiff the second touch, though. Maddie away to the right-hand side. Can he get a second touch here? He gets bumped. Will he get the shot away? The bump is coming through, but JavaScript holds his ground, dodges the bump, and on the goal line at the dead, just denies Maddie the goal there. What a save from JavaScript.
But a bit of a miscommunication there as Tinny just playing that ball into the corner despite JavaScript having a pretty simple clear to make. It is finally going to be cleared by Tinny and Lady Penelope goes to chase it, but that boost denied by Mosley is going to force him to retreat. Finds himself caught out in the midfield now and is forced to go onto the backboard, but Matty might be able to outspeed here. Puts it in front of net for Rahu, but the save coming out, I didn't see who that was. I think it was Tinny once more on that back line, just holding the defense by himself.
Crikey, the last-ditch defense keeping York the lead. And what defense it is, but how long can it keep up as Beckett Bears start to miss their shot? As Maddie with an unfortunate touch there away to the side, but Rahu is going to pick the ball up. Tinny has to work it from the corner, gets his boost stolen, but he's already got some. Can he fake out Mosley here? Tries to take it down, gets past him, tries to 50 Maddie and does so well, but Rahu should be able to pick up the ball in the corner, but he gets dunked immediately by JavaScript. That was on target, but Mosley gets it back in time, tries to flick over one, gets the first demo, but Tinny will be stopping him out there. Can he get a second touch there? Maddie allows him to get the ball pass, but Rahu, he puts it up. Can he control it here? He pops it high towards the backboard. Penelope misses the touch, but Tinny is there to clean up the pieces as Mosley now backwards has to try and control it and take it over the backboard. He gets the back boost, but leaves the ball. Tinny instead does the job for him. Over to JavaScript, who double touched it, but only as far as Rahu, who gets it picked up by Mosley here. Can he get a second touch here towards the York net? He can, but the save from Tinny, it's high and a great clear it is. JavaScript touching it back down to Tinny or to himself. Both players actually missing their touches as it's a little bit messy right now, but Beckett Bears having to stand back and respect it, and this is a very different story to game one right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a much more even contest, and despite York being in the lead, it does look like it could go either way as Beckett Bears search for an opportunity. Or this one could be all the way in here. It's not off the post, it's off the backboard. Mosley with a touch over the top, and it is Matty to chase this one. I think he's going to find himself in possession, but JavaScript comes across and denies that, and Tinny is there in the nick of time as well. Jaffa down towards Lady Penelope, but Mosley reading that infield passing play. It's Matty up now, dropping it in front of net. It's going to be Rahu sending that one high onto the backboard. Nobody there to get a touch, and it is Rahu once more trying to get a shot onto net, and JavaScript blocking that one out. Matty finds himself in control. It's kind of into no man's land right now, but Penelope is going to try and control off the corner. Mosley with a shot. It's not going to be good enough. Really needed to try and find the top shelf or a top corner then if he was going to beat the defense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the momentum's starting to die off here for Beckett Bears. The adrenaline starting to wear out as you think about Mosley in game one with his two clinical shots, and he's had a great chance there to put it away, and it really wasn't the most impressive shot. And based off what we saw in game one, you'd really expect a lot better, but clearly that confidence is starting to ebb away, and that may really favour York here as they still have this 1-goal lead going into the final minute as it's hopeful towards the midfield, but no one's there from Beckett Bears. Maddie is up to meet it on the defense, touches it away to the side, but JavaScript is the one who turns and tries to make the touch as Mosley wins the ball out on the wall, high towards the midfield, but Penelope looking like she may get the block as JavaScript does win the touch off the wall there. Maddie away to the side, but again, Beckett Bears, they're playing around in their own end as Mosley gets a double demo, but what's the point when the ball is in front of the net as Rahu has to come back and make the save there, denying. Fantastic play from York as Rahu is up. JavaScript with the pre-jump. This man, he's playing out of his mind right now.
Oh my goodness, Mosley almost got a dunk there. It is now clock ticking down for Beckett Bears. They need to find something. That weak clear from JavaScript might gift them it, but that is a much better clear, and they need to keep it up here. Mosley is going to have to try and find a pass into the midfield. There's going to be a contest for the ball. It's going to drop, and it is not going to be kept up, and York on the board here take a game off of the Beckett Bears. It is now 1 apiece series score, and we play a best of 3 to find out who gets the next qualification spot in this bracket.
We do indeed, and we say take a game, but I mean, based off what we've seen there, the Beckett Bears adrenaline, the confidence, was just nowhere to be seen in that game too after York got that early lead and really started penning them in their end. Of course, Beckett Bears with the 10 shots in their favour compared to the 7 of York. But, only a couple of them were really great chances. And, York did make a couple really good goal line saves early on. But when you get that really clean shot to Mosley, I think it really sums up the story of the first 2 games right now. As I think if that chance fell to him back in game 1, he could have fired that top shelf and easily scored it. And it wasn't an easy shot, but you're damn right. He wants that chance back now after that's a sort of painful 1-0 loss that really puts, a dampen on all that Beckett Bears momentum heading into game 3.
Yeah, 1-goal games like that really kind of do make you think about all the chances that you had and what could have been. You only needed one of them to go in, and it could have been a different story if you go to overtime or manage to build some momentum. So, yeah, that 1-0 loss going to really be hurting Beckett Bears there, who did put a lot of shots onto net, but it really does seem like we have a bit of a slugfest on our hands for this qualification spot here. I don't know, I'm definitely feeling game 5 vibes from this series. I don't know about you.
Well, hang on a minute. If there's defense like that and another early goal for York, I was going to be saying I think all the momentum is theirs right now, and if Beckett Bears cannot build a bear and put themselves back together, then I think it might all fall apart for them, as it has done on that opening goal right there. York with another early lead here in game 3.
I'm liking the bear puns.
Yeah.
We could even go as far to say as York have completely stuffed them there.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Wait, Matty. Oh, almost that corner read there. That would have been a bit of a highlight reel play. Oh my goodness. That's a flick from Lady Penelope.
Hang on a minute. Maddie's going to... I mean, it just looks so much more static on the Beckett Bears defense now. It was flowing and it was confident in game 1, but now you see Maddie trying to poke that ball infield there to get them off defense with a nice passing play. But both Mosley and Rahu, with cold feet, not sure whether it should be theirs or the others, hesitant. And now Tinney double touching it past one. Can he get it past a second? He can, despite having no boost. Will get the boost steal as well. Mosley clears from the backboard, but will he have any support from the Beckett Bears lineup? No. York taking the ball for free, 50ing it towards the backboard as Beckett Bears, they all have to get back right now. Maddie pinching it with the wall somewhat as JavaScript will make the touch around to the backboard. Will there be an answer? No. York with another uncontested touch as Mosley flopping it away. Hopefully double commit. Can they get it away? No. Only as far as Tinney. It's towards the net, but it's just off target. Rahu controls it, but immediately stuffed by JavaScript. Across comes Rahu to make a second touch, though he is going to buy some much needed breathing room for the Beckett Bears right now, as they are starting to lose time already in this crucial game 3, as it's beautiful touch towards the net from Mosley, but Tinney jumping out from nowhere, just making the save off the inside of the York goal there is going to keep them comfortably 1-0 in the lead.
The player's very open right now. Like, they're leaving a lot of space in the midfield, and both teams are just kind of defaulting to, defensive rotations, holding that back line of kind of one player on the near post, one in net, and one at the back post. And I think they just need to be a bit more proactive and faster in meeting York. Otherwise, they're just going to get stuck in their half like we saw Durham did in the last series, and it's just not going to work out for them.
Yeah, I mean, York in their end now. Fair play to Beckett Bears, but Maddie is going to have to turn around before he can challenge that one, and does get the block that's needed, but York are back on the front foot as Mosley high in the Beckett end, when one out by Lady Penelope as an uncontested shot towards the net, but it's going to be a good save from Mosley. Tinney completely overestimating himself there, won't be able to make an immediate touch, but does recover in order to get the ball away to the side there, as you were mentioning times where the York players were too far forward on defense, and that could be the ticket back into this series for Beckett Bears, do you think?
Yeah, potentially. I saw them do it 5 times, so I wouldn't put it past them to do it a 6. Never mind. Oh, I was going to say never mind us. I thought JavaScript had an open net to shoot at there, but there was one player just out of sight. Mosley finds himself with the ball somehow, getting bumped into that by one of the York players. And I don't know, Beckett Bears, they are kind of starting to create opportunities, but they are being snuffed out by York pretty efficiently. And York are then able to transition onto offense, which is something that Beckett Bears aren't doing so well. They're playing defensively very well, but they're not able to get out of their own half very often and start creating chances of their own.
Oh my goodness, towards the crossbar. Not just this game that feels like it, but the entire series feels like it's on a knife edge right now for the Beckett Bears, depending on who gets this next goal. If anyone gets it here in this game 3, as a pre-flip challenge from Tinney is going to work out. Double commit despite no one challenging from York means that the Beckett Bears, they're panicking on defense right now as Maddie gets it away, but gets a little bit dunked. The touch towards the net. JavaScript puts it away. Doubles down on the pain for the Beckett Bears. It's a 2-goal lead in game 3 for York. They're looking to move to match and qualification point here.
Yeah, that little dunk there just completely blew apart the defense. You know, all read and knowledge of what was happening just completely went out of the window, and it is now York with a second, maybe a third, but Matty going to deny that one. York are starting to look better and better as the series goes on, and Tinney over the top. Lady Penelope might find a third, but it's going to be Rahu. I still wouldn't count the Beckett Bears out, but they haven't got one on the board so far, and I don't know, York do seem to be in control right now.
They desperately need like an early goal in game 4. If they don't even get the first goal in general in game 4, I just think they're down into like miracle territory at that point. As this game 3, they can feel slowly slipping away from them, and unless they get a comeback within goal, I just can't even get my words out. Like, I just watching the ball bounce around the players, and yet no meaningful chances be created as York, they're all back on defense right now. You know, they're trying to pull back within 1 on the side of Beckett Bears, but right now it's just too little too late. Game 3 looking like it's going to slip away from them as you say that towards the midfield, but York, they've just played so solid this game. Immediately after that, you know, random early goal, they've just done nothing but built on it. And in terms of confidence, you just feel like the Beckett Bears have curled up. They've sort of wanted a cuddle, you know, and York, they're just kind of not very cozy. They're quite spiky, not very comfy at all. They're like hedgehogs. That's what we should call them.
I was just about to say, yeah.
York hedgehogs.
Like giving a child a hedgehog to cuddle.
Yeah,
it's not
that's what we should
quite
call
going to
them.
have the desired effect.
No. The Beckett Bears versus the York Hedgehogs is much better than York pun name, certainly considering this could easily be a team that are about to qualify for EURC. You don't want to be saying York pun name, do you? You don't want to see York pun name on the bracket. You want to see York Hedgehogs. How much cooler is that? No? Maybe? No?
I don't know. I guess that's up to York to decide. If we see their name as York Hedgehogs, then I guess they'll have thought you were right.
That's true. It's true. I mean, they're looking like the better team right now. Certainly
I agree.
so.
I can't help but
Over
agree.
the past couple of games. I mean, that's another shutout win. Let's not point out that game 1 feels like an eternity ago, and that was the last time that the Beckett Bears put a goal on the board.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to find one sooner or later, as you say. I think if they don't get the go-ahead goal in this game, then York are just going to continue to build momentum. Oh, that's a brilliant save from Rahu to keep his team alive in this game, but it is all York right now, starting exactly where they left off in game number 3.
JavaScript is just driving from Beckett boost to Beckett boost and just turning around. He literally doesn't care. They're that confident right now, and that's got to be so painful on the side of Leeds Beckett as neither player making contact there. JavaScript popping it up to Tinney. He doesn't quite get a good touch either, but again, every time the ball spills, the Beckett Bears are just flailing at it. There's no real danger. York, they're not even meaning to, it looks like sometimes, but they're just playing around with them as now rushing the ball off defense. They do whiff on that touch. Penelope will have to make the save, but does so well. Rahu poking it towards the net, but JavaScript should be comfortable on that save. Mosley is going to intercept, though. It's dangerous. Could be working its way around. Looking for the demo. Does find it. Is the shot going to come through, though? No, it is not. Tinney gets back in time to make the save, but Maddie high and around the wall there. JavaScript does make the save that is required. Lady Penelope does win the race to the ball against Mosley, though, means that Maddie has to buy time on the defense here. How much time can he buy? He's going to have to make the save here, but does so well. Towards the ball, looking for the second touch, does not find it. Rahu towards the net here, but it's a forced shot. Hopeful, and it was never going to go in. Tinney comfortably in the way is going to get that mid boost as well, but Mosley trying to fake out with no boost. Can he get the 50s through all 3 players? No. 2, yes, but 3 was too much as Maddie around the backboard there. Beckett Bears, they're starting to look better here. It's certainly better than game 2 and game 3, but they're unable to find the breakthrough here.
Yeah, as you said in the previous game, it just feels like everything is on a knife edge right now, and there's no one to break the deadlock, although Tinney almost did in the wrong net. It's a very two-sided game right now, and Beckett Bears, credit to them, they have managed to find a bit of momentum, but York, they definitely look more like scoring when they go forwards, that's for sure. Though they did leave a bit of a gaping hole there, and I worry that that could still be their downfall if they start to default to that style of play again.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh, Lady Penelope getting just back in time and poking it outside the goalposts of York there. A crucial stop as we approach halftime, still at a deadlock as Lady Penelope again making an unconventional touch off the inside of the crossbar as Tinny wins the race to that second ball, and 50s a third there. Maddie getting completely wedged out of that one as Rahu controlling it on the defense, trying to pop it past, but Lady Penelope nice and patient. Maddie watching to see when he can challenge, get it flicked over him as Penelope now looking for the infield. The pinch does try to find it, but Mosley is back in time. Will he be able to get the corner boost? No. Has to focus on playing the ball first. Gets it past one, puts it infield to another, but the shot from Maddie, there's no contact there. JavaScript trying to go down the other end with no boost, but can he pull the shot? Oh! The shot was there, but the Rahu saved once again in place as Maddie on the turn, high towards the back wall. Penelope can't reach it. Can Maddie make the touch? It's high. It's off the mark. Can he get the second touch? He does, but it's past Rahu, and now Mosley is going to have to defend by himself for a second, but does turn and does make the challenge. Maddie's back out in time now as, yes, the fake from Lady Penelope fakes another one, gets the pass out. The shot from JavaScript, but it's just off the mark. As you say, York, so dangerous when they go forward, but it is end-to-end Rocket League right now.
Yep. Very, very close margins between both teams. Another close margin there as Tinny is forced into a save at the near post, facing the wrong way. Does very well with it, and we're immediately up the other end. But it does look like Beckett Bears might have an opportunity here. Mosley on the post. JavaScript almost into his own net. Manages to collect himself and put it into the corner. And York survived that one. Penelope now is past it straight to Matty. It is top shelf from Matty.
Literally, what Beckett Bears, if that wasn't going to go in, they literally needed a gift, a wild pinch, and Lady Penelope spills it, and Maddie was there in the right place at the right time. Absolutely slams it away, giving them their first goal since game one, and that could be the one goal that makes a difference here in game 4 to force a game 5 for qualification into EURC. But could York respond in time here? There's still a minute on the clock.
Yeah, if anyone can respawn, then respawn? What did I just say? Respond, then it's York, is what I meant to say.
Or the York.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh, here comes York. Oh, what a save from Matty there, getting that block in early. It is now Beckett Bears looking dangerous in that half. Tinny is trying to work something out, but unable to get a touch, and York are just kind of flailing at the ball. And it is going to be Mosley with a shot onto the side post there. Lady Penelope trying to get it around Rahu, but no boost. Steals that mid one, but dies. And Tinny now has to try and play this one out of his own half. 30 seconds left. And bumps coming out all over the pitch. It's absolute chaos right now.
Yeah, Rahu keeping the York side pinned in their end is exactly where Beckett want them to be. As Tinny flicks it out to Penelope, does get it past another one. There's a counter-attack. It's 3v1. The only player in the way is Rahu, and Lady Penelope goes for the musty flick, completely screws it up, and it's a very, very comfortable save for Rahu. A 3v1 situation completely thrown into a dumpster fire as Beckett Bears will take the win there in game 4, as I imagine their heart might have been pumping quite strongly at the end there, and we'll be quite happy to see that one out.
Yeah, I honestly think that that was a golden opportunity squandered there for York. I think Lady Penelope kind of just saw, you know, a million highlight reel plays flashed before his eyes, and he went for the musty, and it didn't come off, yeah, in that instance. And he had 2 players with him. Like, he could have just waited and you know, called one of the other players to go and demo that last man, and it would have been a surefire goal. But unfortunately, just going for the glory all by himself, and it hasn't worked out. So we do go to a game 5 now.
Well, clearly York confident in game 5 as we move on to Champions Field, I believe, for the first time today. Is that correct?
At least the first time on stream. I missed the early matches on stream, but this is the first game 5 that I have casted so far. As to who wins it, not a clue.
Well, these Beckett Bears looking dangerous already. Penelope not quite reading the crossbar there, as immediately the confidence and adrenaline still seems to be there for the Leeds Beckett side. As don't forget, they have just come off a game 5 victory against UWE, and that was a reverse sweep as Tinny's flailing to get the ball out of the York side there, but Beckett Bears also tripping up over each other. They're that impatient to try and play the ball. So both sides tripping over each other now as Rahu is going to be able to take the shot. It's off the mark, but I believe there was 3 goalkeepers ready to make that save as Penelope from the backboard will do so, controlling it nicely on the bounce as well. Maddie forces it away to the side, but JavaScript does miss the touch from the wall, but Tinny winning the race to that second ball as Maddie controlling it in the corner now. Tinny going to try and 50 it with him, actually quite patiently. Pops it towards the midfield. Will there be a shot that follows it up, though? JavaScript gets the challenge, takes 2 players out of the game. Can Penelope win the race to the second ball? He can, but it's popped away with a challenge from Maddie. But Rahu
it's an open net.
Get it back in time. The shot towards the net. Mosley can't get back. And it's once again the token early goal for York and a painful mistake from Rahu. And if you think back to the previous 2 games of the series, the Beckett Bears lost. Both of them involved an early goal for York.
Yeah, and if we think about how the games have gone as well, I believe York won the first, Beckett won the first, and then lost the second. So it hasn't quite been, a complete seesaw, but it's definitely been back and forth so far. And York with an early goal. I don't think we've seen a comeback from Beckett Bears yet, have we?
No, it's every time York hang on a minute. I mean, Beckett Bears may not be able to come back, but Lady Penelope with a top shelf finish, perfectly reading the downwards curve of the ceiling there and tucking it in to the York net. And a bit of an unfortunate error, but hey, sportsmanlike behaviour from both teams, letting both teams get on the scoreboard there. And I think it's fair to say there's a lot of pressure on this game 5, and both teams know that this is EURC qualification on the line. If they don't make it now, who knows if they will make it in the next 2. And I think it's fair to say that pressure might be showing right about now.
Yeah, I think so. Nerves definitely going to be a factor on both teams. Game 5 qualification point. Oh, Bosley has managed to force it through, and Beckett have done something that they haven't done all series, which is come back from a deficit and turn it into a lead.
Such a hard save for Tinny to try and make. Maddie was flinging himself at it, and it's not even Valentine's Day yet, but he still tried to make the save. But Mosley, so patient, plays the 50, and we've already had 3 goals less than 2 minutes into this game 5. York with a whiff touch from JavaScript. They got to try and find a response as the time will slowly be ticking, but can Beckett Bears keep them in their end? We know York don't seem to enjoy defending, that is for sure, as they want to try and get the offense here. Tinny with a shot, I don't know if it was a pass, but it didn't quite work out as it slammed down into the York end. Penelope meeting it well. Can he get a great shot here on the bounce? Nearly gets the dunk there, but Mosley stands tall and makes the double block. Trying to flick it past Tinny here, but Tinny with a big pinch is going to say no. Penelope wins the race to the second ball. Can he find the third? Gets the block. It's out into the midfield, but Tinny with the shot. No, it's just towards the centre of the net, and waiting there was Mosley as he gets the second touch, and it's cleared towards the halfway line again. JavaScript high into the Leeds Beckett end as Rahu is going to send it right on back. Maddie racing Tinny to the ball, but will not win the race. But Rahu high towards the net. It's dangerous, but JavaScript will make that save and get the boost to be a reward for him. Penelope away from that backboard as Beckett Bears trying to tighten the grip now as they play it across the field. They should be first to this ball. It's nice and patient from Rahu. Pops it up to himself, looking for the infield. It's high. Will Maddie go for it? He will. Will he score it? Yes, he will. Doubles the lead for Leeds Beckett. It's 3-1 here in game 5.
Yeah, York had such good pressure for a while there, but they are going to concede that one at the near post. Tinny, I don't quite know how that's gone past him, to be honest. Matty finding angles that shouldn't even exist, but a 2-goal cushion now on the side of Beckett Bears. York have a bit of a mountain to climb now, or they will have to go through a whole nother qualifier if they want to get to this point again.
Yeah, I mean, Penelope going to have to try and make something happen here. They need 2 goals in these final 2 minutes, and it is far from impossible, but it is still a big ask as Tinny trying to play it around in the Beckett corner there, denied by Mosley once again, who has turned from quite an offensive monster into now a defensive one just in the space of this series, as Lady Penelope popping it nicely out from the side there. JavaScript with a shot. It has to be good, but it is blocked by Mosley again. Can he control it on the wall? Actually has no boost. Gives up the possession. Penelope comes in, but Rahu is there for the block. Tinny trying to pop it to the backboard, but Mosley, he's in position, but does miss the touch. Maddie is there, though, to pick the pieces up, and York didn't expect Mosley to miss that, and at some point they might have to take that sort of risk as Lady Penelope unable to force it past the Beckett Bears defense again as we approach the final minute. Time is beginning to run out for York here. It's onto the backboard. Maddie shoots it again. It's his second, and it's 4-1 to Beckett Bears now. It's miracle territory for York, and even though they looked on top at points during this series, it is Maddie and the Beckett Bears who are pulling ahead here when it truly matters.
Yeah, and that really did kind of look like an unforced error. from York there. Just some nerves showing. Penelope spilling that ball, and Tinney maybe thought it was for him, pushed out of net, and Matty was like, you know what, boys, I'm going to have that and make it 4. Thank you very much. And it does look like, you know, if there isn't some sort of miracle here, some divine intervention, there is going to be the Beckett Bears that are going to be qualifying, although Tinney
hold the phone,
cut that lead by 1. They still need 2 if they want any chance here.
Well, you can ask the audience, you can play a 50-50, or you can hold the phone a friend, because this series is not over yet. You know, Leeds Beckett may have 4 goals, but there is 44 seconds on the clock still, and York can still get 2 and bring it even. And off the kickoff, Tinney has possession here, but Mosley will make that block as the time, it's beginning to run out. Tick-tock, tick-tock. As 33 now, I'm just staring at the clock. I'm not even looking at the gameplay, but JavaScript can maybe take the shot, but no, he can't. Beckett Bears denying on the defense here. Matty for the hat trick towards the far post. He finds it. Surely he's done it here for Leeds Beckett Bears.
Yeah, I think that is game, set, and match with that hat trick from Matty in game 5. He had a pretty quiet series, but he has absolutely popped off and is carrying his team here to a victory in game 5. 3-goal cushion, 23 seconds left. I think this match is all but over now, and it is Beckett Bears that are going to emerge victorious. What a fairy tale story this bracket has been for them.
Absolutely unbelievable. A disappointing Tuesday in NSE, but no, they pulled up their socks. They lost in the upper bracket straight away. 2, that is, of course, let me double check. I don't want to get the details wrong. It was Erasmus Esports Rotterdam who already qualified, of course. They dropped straight away to that lower bracket. They faced off against the Birmingham Badgers. Of course, we don't know if that's Birmingham's A or B team at this point, realistically, but still a well-reputed National League team, upper national at that as well. It didn't matter. They beat them 2-0. They ran into Northern Lions, a fantastic, long-standing Dutch university roster. They beat them 2-0. They ran into Esports Team 20, an even better Dutch team. Who cares if they're not with their outright full roster? They beat them 2-0. They ran into UWE Stags. They decided, you know what? How about you guys beat us 2-0? Psych, it's a best of 5. They reverse swept them 3-2, and now they've gone all the way to game 5 again against York this time, and they've smashed it out of the park with a 6-2 over York to qualify for EURC. What a story for the Beckett Bears.
Absolutely crazy series, and you know, you say that this team, you know, that they're not really that renowned in normal league play in NSE or the Newell, so going forward for them, this is going to be a huge confident booster, showing that they really can kind of compete with the best, at least in the UK, but they're also going to have their shot to compete with the best in Europe now, with that qualification spot well and truly secured with that, you know, fairy tale lower bracket run. So congratulations to Beckett Bears, and it is going to be up to York to try and make their way through in that second qualifier.
Absolutely unbelievable. And you know the most crazy thing? We've still got another series to be played. That's 3 of the 4 teams for today, but another will qualify. It will either be the Essex Blades from, of course, Essex, aka England, aka the UK, or will it be FHDW Esports from the Uniliga in Germany, recently promoted? Likewise, one went through the upper bracket, one went through the lower bracket. It's a similar story. Both teams have been waiting, and we don't want to keep you guys waiting. So we will go and set up the lobby as fast as we can, and we'll be right back after this break.
I had my bad days, but doesn't mean I lost my darling. Where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stood still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm done with yesterday. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling. I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first of 3 EURC qualifiers. And what a day it has already been. And also, hi IEL, we've seen you rated. That's pretty cool. And you know, we've just seen Beckett Bears qualify through the lower bracket, and that's pretty cool indeed. Of course, through the uppers was Portsmouth and Erasmus Esports Rotterdam. Those are the 3 teams so far out of the 4 today. that will be joining the invited teams, the strongest University Rocket League teams here in Europe, which of course, as I'm sure we can all agree, are much better those in, scummy CRL, of course. I mean, we are much better than they will. They will join the likes of Loughborough, UEA, Kiel, and Bournemouth from the UK, the likes of Berlin Phoenix, Dusseldorf Dragons, Engine Stuttgart, and the Berlin Basilisks from Germany. Then out of Poland, you've got the White Mages, you've got the Gdansk Lions, you've got the Wrocław Bankers, and then you've got the really hard one to pronounce that I'm going to guess is the Szczecin Griffins. No idea if I got that right, by the way. The Newegg Griffins and TUD Apes out of Ireland, of course. Then you've got, Groningen A and Groningen B out of the Netherlands, of course. Two very strong teams. Funny thing is, Groningen B won that division. The most strange thing ever. But of course, we won't go into that today.
I've done a Birmingham.
You've got the University of Brussels and then PXL out of Belgium as well. And out of the Wild Card League, you got Sapienza Roma from Italy and Jyväskylä from Finland. Such diverse competition. And why wouldn't you want to be playing amongst it? Of course, if you don't go to university, sorry. Better luck next time. But when you, of course, everyone here goes to university. So why not sign up for the remaining 2 qualifiers? Because the last series of this one is coming right up. And it is, of course, the Essex Blades against FHDW Esports. And that is, of course, the England or the UK against Germany. And I have no idea when I've heard that before. It seems like a quite historic matchup, though.
I'm going to let you die on that hill, Steve. And I'm going to talk about the match itself. Yeah, Essex, they had a very strong series against Durham in the previous round in the losers bracket. Yeah. And now they go up against FHDW, who found themselves in one of the upper semi-finals, going up against Portsmouth, who I believe they managed to take a game off, but I think that score has been misreported. So yeah, it was not a sweep to Portsmouth. It was 3-1. So yeah, FHDW came up against very strong opposition, and I think they're going to have the same here against Essex. Essex are very strong opposition, don't get me wrong, but Portsmouth just are that little bit better. I think most people would agree. So I don't know. I think we're in for a very even matchup here, unless Essex just really go to town and decide that they want this series to be over in 3 games.
Yeah, I really don't know quite what to expect. I mean, Essex looked really good against Durham. I'm not entirely sure quite how they dropped a game. And you think about Essex, and we still don't quite know. I mean, with a particular few number of Game 5s that they lost, how they missed out on playoffs last season, and instead it was Salford that sort of snuck into that 6th spot that was really up for contention between a number of teams. Of course, one of them was the Essex Blades, and I think should they have made that playoffs in the winter split, then we'd be talking about them very differently, because we know that they are so damn good, and they're one of them teams that can take series off the very best teams in the UK. We've seen them beat the likes of UEA, we've seen them beat the likes of Salford. But when it comes down to Game 5s and when it matters, we haven't always seen it just yet. But a really good stamp to put in their passport would be qualification through the first qualifier for EURC. And winning this series would be the perfect way to do that.
Yeah, this could be a real proving ground for Essex. I'm sure if they manage to get this qualification spot, I mean, Beckett Bears with that qualification spot have really put themselves up there in consideration with some of the top teams. They've beaten York, they've beaten UWE. Those are some quality teams. So to be in that conversation now is great for them. I'm sure that Essex would also like to be included in that conversation. Many people would say that they are already. But yeah, we'll see here if they're able to qualify.
Yeah, well, it's okay. The players joined the lobby too soon, but that's okay, because we respect that they are raring to get into it. So that is exactly what we will do. It's Game 1, starting on Mansfield night. Again, FHDW in the black and the Essex Blades in the red. Again, not entirely sure what to expect for this series. FHDW recently promoted to the Uniliga. Previously they were in the 2nd tier of German University Rocket League, but now really on the rise up, similar to as we were drawing comparisons to them and York, and they really did put up a solid performance against Portsmouth, so I wouldn't be surprised if they put up even more of a fight here against Essex. But I mean, well, that is quite the play from Essex to say, no, I don't think so, actually, as they just pass that one down, tuck it into the bottom corner, and that's just quite a tasty play to start things off.
Yeah, that was a bit of an exceptional pass there from Switch, just using that backflip to generate some power off the ceiling and set up his teammate perfectly. I believe it was Lexino. That shot, bit of a P-roller, but it was accurate and it is going to find the mark. This one is on the mark, but it's a bit of a soft one from George Burke, who was definitely the standout striker for Essex in their previous series, getting lots of shots and many goals on the board for them as well.
Yeah, and it's curious to see how quick will FHDW respond here. As Switch is going to put it deep into their end again, but Zim takes that one nice and comfortably up the wall, looking for the infield for Verfahren. And against Portsmouth, we did see some really nice passing plays by FHDW. Let's not forget that, so they have more than the capability of linking up and completely destroying the Essex defense, which, to be fair, didn't get tested very much against Durham because it was always in the Durham end. But that's a great save from George Burke, as, oh man, FHDW so close, but just not close enough here, as maybe another shot, but missing the contact there. That could be a costly one.
Yeah, as you say, yeah, Essex, their defense was not tested at all. It's definitely been tested so far, as 2 shots have been begging just to be finished, and neither of them have gone in. It might be Lexino now with a breakaway opportunity. Zim is just going to make his way to the ball like he's using a Zimmer frame. It was so slow that he crawled towards that, but was finally able to get a touch onto it, and the opportunity is not there for Essex in that instance.
Oti touching it up, but Lexino is going to intercept it, and George Burke will follow it up nicely, but Verfahren is back to make the interception. Takes it up the wall past Switch as well, but Switch taking Medoti out of the play means there's not many options here, but Zim does make the challenge there. It's around to the backboard. Switch missing the clear from the backboard bit. Is there a shot to punish? No. Lots of respect given there by FHDW, and Switch is going to get away with that one as Verfahren away to the corner. Can he get a second touch though? I think Lexino is going to beat him, and he does. Switch looking to take the shot, but he will not quite find it. Zim with a nice save there. It's poked towards the net. Can Medoti make the save? Yes, he can. Claps it off the ground and it bounces up. Too awkward for Lexino to challenge. Can Switch make the touch? Yes, he can. Takes it nice uply towards the ceiling, and it's a very good turnaround touch there to get, you know, the Essex blades off that defense. But Medoti sending it right back down. Then and can Zim win the race to this second ball? He can, but Switch again in the right place at the right time will deny with a big block there. Essex do appear to be holding on.
Yeah, well, I said at the end of their previous series against Durham that Durham played in a way that really played into Essex's strengths, and they showed that. They played exceptionally in that series, but you know, as you say, the defense wasn't tested very much, and Essex, they're not a team that is known for defending. They're a team that is known for, you know, just pressure, offense, and speed, which isn't really qualities that will work out for you on defense. So I think their defense is good, but it's not quite as good as their offense. So we'll see how the dynamic of this series pans out.
George Burke with a touch towards the bottom corner. And Verfahren was still too busy playing Dance Dance Revolution in the net. Pitter patter, couldn't find his footing, and it's tucked in to the bottom left-hand corner, doubling the lead for the Essex Blades there. And we talked about their defense. I mean, the 2 times it's been tested this game, you know, George Burke, and oh, this could be another one, but it's a good save from Zim. But George Burke and Switch made them 2 crucial saves on the goal line. But could that be all the way, or is it wide? It is off the mark. And when you think about the 2 major times that the FHDW defense has been tested there, well, you look at the scoreline and you can see that there's 2 goals, and I think that has been the difference so far in this game 1. But there is still a minute to be played.
There's still a minute to be played. I think this game definitely belongs to Essex, as that shot was cut out right at the last second there. But yeah, I think this game definitely belongs to Essex. They have looked like the stronger team going forwards, and their defense hasn't looked exceptional, but you know, it's been good enough to deal with the pressure that FHDW have been putting up. Potentially, you know, FHDW have been waiting quite a long time, and Essex having a really good series against Durham could be in their favour. So potentially we might see FHDW warming up as the series progresses.
Yeah, I mean, you think about a similar story with the Portsmouth series as well. FHDW really looked sort of like 3 lost spirits in that first game, but then lo and behold, they woke up and they gave, you know, Portsmouth a few nightmares here and there. I mean, it was quite a good challenge they gave to them, not in that game 1 though. And you think about this game 1, it's been a lot closer than that one, and there's chances where FHDW could easily have been within 1, or, you know, earlier on could have taken the lead. So there have been the chances for them, and you think after they've had to wait so long to play this game, having fallen from that upper bracket, maybe we'll have seen them warm up into this series and put up a much better performance in game 2.
Yeah, Well, I thought I was going to be forced to eat my words as I said them, though. I was going to say that FHDW were unable to get on the board in that game. Essex holding a clean sheet and outshooting massively. I think they were 4 shots to the better were Essex in that game 1. And yeah, FHDW didn't really look like they had a response to all of the pressure from Essex at all. I don't know. I think we could definitely see a dynamic shift. You know, we have seen seesaws and back and forths, and we've counted people out, and then they've come back and surprised us. So I definitely wouldn't count FHDW out at this point, but also Essex still look very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, let us not forget, every time we talked about Portsmouth qualifying, FHDW
Exactly.
would always score. And I do think that is
Exactly.
a very different outlook on that game 1 if they do get them 2 goals. But of course, credit again to Switch and George. And of course, Lexino, that they did perform the defense when it mattered, whereas FHDW, they weren't able to step up to that plate there. But it's a new game, and the 2 teams have connected once again. And who knows, could be a completely new story. As we are on, of course, the beautiful Forbidden Temple and not the weird, oversaturated New Day version for this game 2. And we'll see if FHDW can mount a defense and actually put up a response here. It's a dangerous shot immediately towards the net, but what a save from Midoti. Can he follow it up with the help of Verfahren? Yes, he can, as the last thing they would have needed was to concede an early goal there.
Yeah, well, Essex, they look a lot more like they're playing, you know, like a team rather than 3 individuals. We saw them before maybe going as 1, 2, and 3, but they are kind of trying to find each other a bit more and play a bit more of a possession game in this series, which is really helping them out, and they're able to play around FHDW a lot of the time as well. But FHDW definitely look like they're starting to match the speed of Essex just from, you know, the early stages of this game, and that was almost an opportunity there as Verfahren looked for his teammate in the corner.
Well, Switch is going to be able to comfortably pick that one up off the defense, but Midoti again stands his ground and challenges it well. But Zim's going to flick that one up. It's a little bit awkward. Verfahren does go up. Can he get a double? Doesn't look like he can. Lexino for the shot, but leaves a hell of a lot to be desired. Downfield towards Verfahren, but he doesn't end up chasing that ball. Didn't think the chance was there as George Berg was back in time to make that block and absolutely claps Verfahren out of the sky. No chance there for FHDW, unfortunately for them, but it is still 0-0. The infield passing play to Verfahren, the shot towards the net, but George Berg makes the save, but it is not enough. The double commit gets punished, and Verfahren finishes it off with the second bite of the cake there, and I think it tastes pretty good. They're in the lead for the first time here in Game 2.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were seeing FHDW try and do towards the end of their previous series against Portsmouth, and they didn't quite manage to pull it off, but they have managed to pull it off here against Essex. That infield passing play, the first one wasn't good, but the save wasn't good enough. It was spilled out, not carelessly, but it was straight to Verfahren, I believe, and he was able to convert at the second time of asking.
Yeah, I mean, Verfahren again on the ball, taking it past Lexino into the Essex corner here. He's hungry. He's looking for the bumper switch. Thankfully for Essex, is back in order to make that block, as Verfahren will miss the touch there in that midfield as Zim pinching it with the wall here. Suddenly FHDW really looking like they want to press this into the Essex end, but George Berg wins the race to that ball in the midfield, but actually he was only racing his teammate. Switch has to make this touch. It's off the corner and out into the midfield. Can Lexino win the race to this one? Yes, he can, and a big win that is, as Zim has to meet it back in the FHDW midfield. A touch from Midoti, it's a redirect, but it's awkward, and Switch should be able to pick that one up, and he's actually given space in order to get a second hit there. Actually doesn't find it though. Midoti back to Verfahren. 2 players commit though. Can he get the double? He can, but is he going to be able to turn this round into the net? What a ground shot! Oh my goodness, but Switch is back in time to make the save, and I don't think that shot could have been any better given the situation that he was in, but it's still 1-0 FHDW here as we cross half-time. Another passing play popped off the back ball, but it's a little bit too fast, and right now they're queuing up to score on the Essex net.
Yeah, Essex finding themselves in such an unfamiliar position, having to play constant defense. It is a kind of a taste of their own medicine. I imagine they're feeling a lot like Durham were in their previous series now, but when they do get up the field, they are creating opportunities and they are taking them. So it's an awkward spot for Essex to be in, but they are making the most of their opportunities. So back and forth gameplay, I'm sure, will suit them, but if it's constantly defending, then it might be a bit of a task for them to come through and get this comeback.
Well, Essex now beginning to play the ball around in the FHDW end there as Midoti to the midfield. Vafaran down to Zim, but oh my goodness, he was about to pull the trigger and then he just got terminated by George Burke from behind. A very mean demolition to say the least, but at the end of the day, Essex still need an equaliser as we are beginning to approach that final minute as it's cleared away again deep into the Essex end. Switch spawns on the right side, but decides, no, I need that boost as it gets clapped off the wall and FHDW will pick it up again. Switch going to get bumped out again, and the German university just penning Essex in their own end. The pass again, they continuously find each other. The shot nearly coming through, but Lexano making a big save there as Medoti doesn't find contact on the ball, but does on George Burke. Zim again across the field, but Switch reading it this time, gets the ball, gets the boost. What can he do here? Tries to dunk out one. It's down in front of the net, but Medoti makes the read, and it's still a 1-goal lead. Can he get a second touch? It's across to Vafaran, who, oh my goodness, tries to take the shot, but just misses quite on the contact, and it's so hard, you know, when you're going for that perfect shot and you're really trying to line it up, and if you miss it by just an inch, speaking of which, George Burke will not miss that off that rebound, which did hit that crossbar. He tucks it in. 30 seconds on the clock here in game 2, a crucial equaliser for Essex.
Yeah, and a beautiful double tap off the ceiling from Lexano. Not a lot the defense could do there, not expecting him to get that touch. And it is going to be 1-1 now, 30 seconds left. Oh. Essex have been looking for so long, and they managed to find something, and they find something a bit more as Lexano now going to go from passer to receiver and is going to slot that one home. Essex have mounted a comeback, and it's only taken them about 5 seconds to take the lead.
That's what I was going to say. Suddenly, this lead from FHDW has completely vanished, and that's got to be so painful for them. And as you say, George Burke not the one. Hang on a minute. Midoti's onto the backboard. Zim taking the shot, but it's a tiny bit off the mark, and Lexano will get the clear. And as you said, it was George Burke and Lexano once again, and surprised that George Burke wasn't scoring that. I mean, some would say he's the standout striker.
No way, no way, Vafaran.
To say Vafaran denied on the backboard again as Essex try and take it up the other end, but the ball will go down. And despite being ahead for the vast majority of that game, FHDW, it just suddenly, they've got like whiplash. They're probably looking around saying, what just happened in that game? Whereas Essex played, they're suddenly 2-0 up in the series. 3 qualification points here. Nobody would expect them to get reverse sweep and lose a game 5. That would never happen to Essex, surely.
I'm hinting a bit of sarcasm there. Has that happened to Essex recently by any chance?
I mean, to be fair, not too recently, in fact. Not too recently, but let's not forget that recently, today, FHDW did play the Essex Blades in the upper bracket, and they did win 2-1 in the best of 3. Maybe Essex, you know, get caught sleeping, maybe didn't show enough respect, who knows, but they're clearly running them down here and do not switch off until the final whistle goes, as that proved pivotal for them there in that game 2, as they just need one more game out of the next potential 3, and they will be joining the list of esteemed qualified EURC teams.
Yeah, well, credit to them. FHDW actually looked to be the better team for most of that previous game. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that one, but Essex just managed to sneak in 2 goals. They were well engineered, don't get me wrong, but those 2 goals just kind of stunned FHDW right at the death, and now they're back to square one. They have to completely rebuild and go again and try and break this Essex team down.
Oh, Medoti passed one, but it looks like he's going to get bumped. Can he pull the trigger here? He looks for the flick inside, the pass to the far, and again, an early 1-goal lead for FHDW. Fantastic play here, just about managed to pick apart the Essex defense. As you see, Switch looked for the bump there, but I think Medoti was just built different and was able to get the pass to top it all off. A great play from them, and Essex, again, are going to have to mount a comeback.
Yeah, Switch did everything in his power to try and knock Medoti off course there, but like an absolute chat, he stood his ground. He just did not move, able to get that pass into the midfield, and the shot was taken on an open net from less than a yard out. So it is going to be once again FHDW on the board first, and they managed to hold this lead for all of about 4 minutes before Essex put 2 past them in the very last minute of game number 2.
It's just so frustrating to lose a game to effectively a kickoff throw, right?
Yeah,
I feel like you're
right.
ahead the whole game and you're just like, damn, they got an equalizer, and it's like, damn, wait, we just lost in 5 seconds. Like, that's such a slap across the face, but credit to them. They've got back up and got on the lead here again in game 3.
Oh, Vafarin's missed that boost, though, and has to rely on his teammate to bail him out. I think he must have found a couple of pads in the midfield there. It's Medoti now. Both players missing. Switch onto the back ball. Vafarin in a very awkward spot. If Switch follows up, he could get a goal here, and he is going to convert his Switch off his own pass onto that backboard.
Does it all himself there from the midfield. Vafarin, too slow, doesn't quite make the touch and switch with no respect. He's just like, I don't care if you're there, going for that ball. What if I just go better? Tucks it away, top shelf, and the equalizer comes a lot sooner this time. Curious to see what happens over the next 3 minutes here.
Yeah, well, no 5-second lead brought back this time for Essex. They're going to have to work a bit harder in open play to get this one. And even FHDW as Zim looking for the Doomsday dish off the backboard there. Wasn't able to find it, but a very creative idea. Could have definitely managed to sneak its way in. It's going to be George Burke stealing this one in the FHDW half there, but nothing comes of it. Far, and that's an awkward read, and he has missed it, and it is Lexano into the top shelf. It's bouncing down and in from Lexano, and Essex have a lead again. It's exactly what happened in the previous game, but this time FHDW have that time now to come back and try and hold Essex to an overtime or even take the game in regulation.
That's such a good shot from Lexano. Waited for the miss. Not only times it on the bounce, but puts it behind the goalkeeper. And with such power, yet despite under the crossbar, a top-tier shot from him. And once again, Essex have turned it around in an instant. Maybe not as quick as last game, but still a quick 2-1 turnaround. But Vafarin, he wants something to say about it. Tries to fake out one, or doesn't quite find it. Medoti comes in, plays it to himself off the sideboard, but the flick, it's high and across the net. George Burke reaches it like a giraffe. He got up so high, so quickly there. I don't know how. Like a pole vault. It was actually crazy. Medoti from the wall here slaps it towards the net. It's dangerous, but Switch comes across and makes the save there. But the questions are being asked. But now dangerous down on the defensive end. Zim has to make the touch off the back ball, but George Burke, he's there for the shot, passes it across to Lexano instead, but no link-up play this time. Zim denies that one, but he's going to get tripped up, and Medoti doesn't find the touch from the wall here, but Vafarin is going to pick things up. He 50s it onto the back ball here as Essex are forced back on defense, but they should have the ball. Lexano comes across and makes the touch, tries to pass it to himself. Up near the ceiling, though, both players fake each other out. George Burke from the wall is going to miss that touch across the pitch from Medoti to Vafarin, but he gets dunked out by Switch. Essex trying to tighten the grip here, but Zim sends it all the way deep into their end. Can Medoti interfere? He gets the touch, but Lexano, he got a piece of that one too. It's high in the midfield, but George Burke is the only one up for it, but intercepted the Essex net. It's open. Medoti's touch, though, he couldn't quite turn it on target.
Yeah, well, Essex, they're looking like they've got more of a complete package now. You know, I was talking about they look so good on offense, but it seems like they've ironed out kind of those defensive worries as well, and they're staying strong on the defensive side. That one wasn't able to be turned in by Medoti. He couldn't quite wrap himself around the ball and find that angle, and with less than a minute left now, it is going to be FHDW looking for one, and that shot from George Burke. Oh, the dunk is going to go all the way in from Medoti. Oh my goodness.
That was like George Burke was like, I could do it. I could seal the deal. This could be the shot. I'm the standout striker. Oh, it's in the back of the net, but not that one as Medoti slams that door shut. It's a 2-2 game, and we go again into the final minute of this game 3. Essex are going to need this next goal if they want to qualify here and now, but FHDW are not going down without a fight. Despite that triple commit on defense, they do make the save as Switch away to the wall here. Zim's going to make that touch, but can he get a second one? Actually dribbles his own team, and George Burke comes in, swoops in to sweep that one up. Can he get a second touch here? Nope, he's dead. Goodbye, George Burke. Any final words? Oh my goodness, the touch off the post. So dangerous from Essex, but they do not find the mark here. Could we be headed for overtime?
I really don't know. This, you know, it's so unpredictable. We saw from that equalising goal that went in from FHDW, you know, nobody could have predicted that one. Although this one onto the backboard, it has to be Vafarin clear. George Burke lining up for a bit of a slam here. It's going to be over to the side. Medoti, it's top shelf. Lexano has dropped that one down. Zim might be able to drop it down. It is down, hits the floor, and we have overtime and it is an overtime that FHDW need to win if they want to stay alive and have any chance at qualifying through this qualifier for EURC.
Hang on a minute, Midoti towards the backboard, Zim the link up, but again just off the mark from FHDW, and Essex are going to have to try and build from the back here, but if they could find this next goal, they join the Europe's elite university Rocket League competition. It's effectively the Champions League here, the Rocket League version of it. That's what they're trying to qualify here, and they will get into it if they can score this next goal as George Burke. Oh, wait, that touch there. But for Farin, the rebound looks dangerous, but Switch, he makes the save off that backboard there. But Zim looking dangerous around the backboard as well. Midoti gets demoed though, but he does force the 50. Can Lexno win the race to the ball? No, he gets demoed as well. Switch to the ceiling, takes the shot, but a great block from the Farin. Sends it away to the side there as Midoti on the backboard controls it past one. Can he take it past another? He can. Controls it, takes it to Vafarin. The shot, but Switch is there for the stop. It's not the best stop I've ever seen though, as George Burke has to take it to the corner. The touch is out to Zim, but the 50, Switch challenges it again, makes up for that previously, and keeps Essex just about with their heads above the waterline, as Zim is going to try and keep them in their own end again. Switch 50ing it with the corner.
Oh my goodness.
That has just gone flying down into the FHDW end, and they don't want it to be here. Things haven't looked amazing when it's been stuck down the German university's end, as Midoti forces a double commit out of Essex here. If Fafarin can take the shot towards the net, it will go in. They do take the overtime. They do take game 3, and they pull just one game closer.
Yeah, I was going to talk about how many awkward and unpredictable 50-50s there were, and that one was accompanied by a double commit, and it was enough to find an opening for FHDW. They stay alive here, and we go to a game number 4 now. Essex still on match point. I'm sure that they don't want to be going to game 5, do Essex, but FHDW are going to do everything in their power to try and get there.
Indeed, I mean, credit to Essex. I was worried for them in NSE this week when I knew they were going to a Game 5, but the Game 5 they went to, I cannot remember who it was against, but they did win it, potentially breaking a bit of a curse for them on this Tuesday, as of course their Game 5 record last season at NSE was not the best, and that is fine, but I don't know how much FHDW do know about that, but I do know that they're one game closer to forcing it as we head into Utopia Coliseum. Can Essex do it this time in Game 4?
Well, yeah, FHDW, they scored first and their lead quickly evaporated, but it was quite a lucky goal, shall we say. You know, luck was definitely on their side with that goal that was dunked all the way in. And then to win that overtime, you know, they've got to throw everything at Essex now, who are looking pretty exceptional. You know, they look good on offense. Switch is looking good on offense here as he's going to tuck that one in after beating out the second man who came to challenge.
Let's not forget, the past 2 games, FHDW have been the ones with the go-ahead goal early on. Now, the tables have turned, and they are the ones you have to try and mount a comeback. Could Essex have really put the ball so far into their court now with that opening goal that they will struggle to return it? We'll have to find out over the effectively remainder of the entire game. It was a huge fake from Zim there. Tries to get back down to the ground quickly, but cannot control his landing quite well enough. But again, it's huge for Essex to get that opening goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And they might have a second here, but a bump on George Burke. Oh, what has happened there? Many bumps occurring at the same time, and the ball somehow ended up on the crossbar of the FHDW net. Midoti's going to be very awkward here, but I think he managed to get that 100 boost. That one is sailing towards the net, but it's just past the post. It's going to be Lexino now taking this one up high. He might just try and get another touch to take it away from the FHDW defense and drop it down to George Burke, who puts Zim at a very awkward spot, who's bailed out then by Vafarin, and it is finally Midoti giving his teammates some breathing space.
Well, George Burke forcing the 50 high, and Essex desperate to try and link up in the FHDW half, but it's now down towards the Essex net, but Switch makes the difference once again with a big save there. Vafarin controls it up, looking for... Oh, that was a nearly great link-up play there with Midoti, but again, it was so sort of hopeful, like it would have been an incredible play if they pulled it off. A Zim's shot is going to force another save out of Switch now as he clears again from the corner, forces Vafarin to respond all the way back down here. His clear is far from as good as Lexino. Had to pre-flip to even reach that ball. A good attempt, but doesn't quite find the contact he was looking for on that shot. We remain at 1-0, but of course, this time in favour to the Essex Blades, and I feel like, you know, FHDW are really playing the airport metal detector here. Will Essex, the Blades, be allowed to pass? Will they be permitted on this flight to EURC, or will they be forced to, you know, put it in a bin and just go home empty-handed? That is the philosophical question we're asking here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It seems that they might have run out of clear plastic bags here, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure that'll be able to get through, but Lexano might get caught out here. Zim challenging it is Vafarin, and Switch bailing out the defense with an exceptional save there, keeping the scoreline in favor of his team. He's going to take his time here now, is Switch. Look to take this one past Zim. It is up and down very quickly, and it is now George into the center, but Lexano has not committed for that one. He's going to be waiting on the wall and not able to get a piece of it as that pinch goes very high. Zim now putting pressure on. George Burke has to 50 that on his own goal line pretty much. It's for Farin, 50-50 with Lexano. Actually managed to get good contact, but it is Switch now away. We're just going back and forth. It feels like I'm more watching a tennis match than a Rocket League series right now.
Oh, Midoti from the wall, but didn't have any boost to aid his shot. The technique was good, but again, just not any boost to help him out. Vafarin again finds Midoti. They're so aware of each other. They're so good at passing and finding each other. And here with the bouncing shot, but it comes off the Essex crossbar. Vafarin with the shot will find the equaliser here.
Yeah, finally the Essex defense cracking there. Lexano not able to make the touch, and George in such an awkward spot, expecting his teammate to have gotten that clear there, and it was Vafarin who realised that Essex was scrambling and all it needed was a tap in, and now we are one apiece here with 2 minutes left. I really can't call this game either way.
Down towards the midfield again. It's cleared downfield, but Switch is back. No save for that one, but he has had a performance already so far in this potentially crucial game 4. Already got 4 saves and the 1 goal for Essex to his name. No. But it doesn't matter, because guess what? The tables have turned once again. Vafarin finds the back of the Essex net. Lexano couldn't reach it in time, and we worried about this time Essex being the ones to get the early lead. But no, FHDW have just completely no-you'd them, and now they're 2-1 up.
Yeah, as you say, twice now FHDW took that 1 goal lead, and Essex came back to make it 2-1. It is now a complete no-you. Uno reverse card has been played, I can confirm, by FHDW, and they are now 2-1 in front with a minute left. Essex needing to chase this, and it might be another open net here as Madote over to Vafar, and it's off the post, and they can't make it 3. An open net now for Essex, but they end up having a bit of a cuddle there in the midfield. It could be a potential opportunity, but Vafar has got that one clear over to the side. Oh, it's so open-ended right now. Literally any team could score at any time, and I don't know who is going to.
If Essex find the equaliser now after... again! So dangerous at both ends of the field, but FHDW, they should really be 3-1 up right now, and my goodness, they will not be able to sleep well at night if they end up losing this game. But surely this time, no, it rolls up the wall. Can he drop it down? No, Lexano makes the block. 30 seconds left, double commit from FHDW, but it does pay off. Can Essex get the ball down the other end of the field fast enough? Lexano, his touch is not on target. The demo comes through.
Great
Switch
demo
with the shot, but it's just not good enough. It goes wide of the mark. George Burke tries to keep it down in the end. Lexano trying hard as well, but Vafarin gets dunked, but it's onto the crossbar. They hold on. Zim into the corner. 50s it past George Burke. Can he make the touch? He can. It's out. Can Lexano win the race to it? No way. Vafarin too fast, but Switch with the turn. Can he take the shot? No, the save from Midoti gets it over the crossbar, and we head to game 5.
Oh my God, what a save that was from Madote. I saw Switch lining that one up, and I thought I was going to be calling a goal for Essex there to tie things up and send us to an overtime. But oh my goodness, Madote is an absolute hero now for FHDW. And against all odds, we go to a game 5, and we are set up for a potential reverse sweep to qualify for EURC 2021.
Indeed, you talk about the stakes, you talk about them playing the Uno reverse card. I mean, the server's gone down for maintenance just to build
even the server can't handle it.
It can't handle it. You talk about that Uno reverse card, but the reverse sweep, that would be the ultimate plus for Essex to lose a game 5. Imagine if it's a game 5 overtime. That would be the ultimate Essex facing up against their demons, preventing the reverse sweep to qualify for EURC on Champions Field after such a long day. These players have been playing for over 5 hours now at this point. This isn't a sprint, even though it's just the final 100 meters. This has been a marathon. And who will come out on top here? I honestly have not a clue.
No, I really don't know either. And I think we can say with confidence now, it doesn't even really matter who scores the first goal, because we've seen both teams come back and take the leads in regulation. Yeah. So this game is just wide open until that final buzzer sounds, or if we go into overtime when that final goal goes in.
Well, again, FHDW in the black, Essex Blades in the red. It all comes down to this final Game 5, and Champions Field is where it will be set on this beautiful, calm evening. But I think the game is going to be anything but calm, as Vafaran towards the backboard, both defenders miss, Zim towards the net, and the net is open 20 seconds in. It's FHDW with the early lead here.
Yeah, that was such an unnecessary double commit there. I just think maybe some jitters amongst Essex. You know, they don't want to be in Game 5. They won those first 2 games, and they've had 2 games thrown right back at them. And I think that double commit there just shows that the pressure could be getting to them a little bit. Although a great opportunity from Switch right off the get-go of that kickoff could have opened things up and brought the scoring even very quickly. Oh, it's going to be Madoti now in possession, but with 0 boost. Again, Vafaran up, hitting the ceiling with that one. Alexino might try and look for a teammate in the center or go all by himself. The fake is there, but he has no boost to take the shot. It is now George looking for a pass into the center, and Vafaran away. Lexino, that was a great dunk there, and it is Switch now having to just 50-50 this one in the FHDW half.
Well, Lexino surely going to be picking this one up, but it's all a little bit cagey from the Essex side. But likewise, the defense that gets demoed out. Oh my goodness. Lexino taking out the FHDW defense, literally kamikazes here, and Switch tucks it into the open net. We have tie game in Game 5.
Yeah, beautiful communication there. You knew that those players, Lexino and Switch, were telling each other, you know, go for that demo. He's last, he's by himself, and he's vulnerable. And Switch is absolutely going to fire that shot into that open net, and we have a tie game here unless Zim has anything to say about it. The flip reset is going to catch the defense off guard, and Madoti is going to pick up the pieces and restore the lead for FHDW.
My goodness, Zim, how much boost does this guy have? What a play to set up Madoti, who just went. He did not hesitate, and the Essex Blaze defense was not up to the challenge. It's FHDW again in the lead here, 2-1, but there is still so much time on the clock. It's 50 down, but Madoti is there first. He wins the 50 again, but George Burke is there. Up to Lexino towards the backboard. Is the response there? The miss, but George Burke cannot beat Zim to the ball. It's deep into the Essex end, but Switch, his touch uncharacteristic off the backboard. Looks uncomfortable. Zim towards the net, but just off the mark. Essex, they get away with that one. A Switch from the wall. Gonna get dunked out by Vafaran. Lexino misses his touch. The nerves are strong and not very steady right now, as George Burke gets beaten out on the 50 by Zim. Switch trying to send it back down the midfield, as Lexino trying to 50 it with the ball. He does get that pinch, as FHDW a little bit clogged up on defense there. Means that Essex get that ball back for free. Switch towards the back ball, but Vafaran clears high and deep to the Essex end. Madoti redirects it high off the corner, and Essex have to build from the back again with a demo on Vafaran, though there is space to do so. George Burke wins the race to the ball, but Zim with the all-important block here as we approach half-time. FHDW being forced to defend, but they are defending well.
Switch in a very awkward spot there. George Burke clears it long, and it's only as far as Vafaran, who is being challenged by George once again. Awkward touch to make and loses his life for it, but is able to get it over the top, and it is Lexino in an awkward spot now. Madoti sending it into the midfield. It is Zim up, able to drop this one down dangerously. George up nice and quickly, even though Vafaran wasn't there, just making sure that there wasn't any chance that a shot was going to be put onto the net from point blank range by FHDW. It's going to be George now. It gets challenged by Vafaran. Madoti might have a shot, but the drop down is going to deny that. Lexino over to Switch. Might be able to get this one centered. It's going to be Vafaran to have to try and work it out of the corner here. He's doing a pretty good job of it, and Madoti has put it around the side of Lexino. Switch, that's a great pass over to George, who can't quite get the angle. Switch can't find the net either, and it goes begging. 1 minute 46 left on the clock, and Essex, how many opportunities are they going to get before FHDW score another goal?
Unbelievable to think that Essex were comfortably 2-0 up in this series, and right now they're dialing everyone in their contact list to find out if anyone knows the Heimlich manoeuvre, because they are desperate to turn this potential choke around. But credit to FHDW, they've completely earned this, and they're still in the lead here in Game 5, and it's fired towards their backball, but Zim, with the two-touch, answers once again. Switch trying to mess up with the defense, but he cannot find the bum. Lexano into the end again. Essex with many consecutive touches, but the block comes through again. Zim is there again. Can they hold on for one final minute here?
Yeah, well, they'll either hold on or they might get another one of their own, and then it really will be curtains for Essex. But George is taking it all the way over the top. Zim has to make it clear here, and it might just drop down unless he can get another touch. That's a great bit of control from Zim to put it over to Madoti. It's now George. Switch into the middle. George might be able to get it over the top. It's off the crossbar. Switch is going to be able to recollect this unless Madoti is there. Switch trying another one. It's up, it's down. Zim might have control of it with a pinch. Lexano into the center. George a bit too far forwards to be able to wrap himself around and shoot that one. And it is only 20 seconds left now on the side of Essex. They really need to find something here, and they need to find it fast. Just take a few more risks and throw everything at FHDW.
They've already been throwing the kitchen sink and everything, the mortgage, who knows what else for the past 2 minutes, but it hasn't been enough, and it hasn't been enough for the whole series. And unless they keep the ball up on 0 seconds with that double commit, it's gonna be hard to do. Surely it's down. Zim towards the center, far and keeps it up. He's so damn confident, shoots it towards the net, but the ball goes down, and the reverse sweep is complete. Switches out the lobby, GG's out the window. Oh my goodness, FHDW, they may have had to wait for hours to play this game. They may have lost their upper qualifying match, but they showed up when it matters. 2 games down in the series, they did not care. They came back with the historic reverse sweep. What a team on the up. They only recently qualified up for the Uniliga to get promoted, and now they're here at the top echelon of European University Rocket League. They've made it through the qualifier, and not just that, but the first one, and what style to do it in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, there's no better way to make a qualifier than a reverse sweep. I'm sure that they would have wanted it differently, but my goodness, I'm absolutely staggered by that series. It was just so back and forth. There was never really any team in control apart from, I guess you could say, Essex in those first 2 games, and it looked like Essex could have put it to bed multiple times, and it just didn't happen for them. Like, they tried so hard, but FHDW just held on, and then were finally able to overcome and take that Game 5 victory. No overtime required in that instance. So, oh man, what a series that was. Essex are going to feel absolutely robbed right now. Like I said right at the start of the series, like, it's either going to be a Game 5 unless Essex decide to take it in 3. And Essex didn't. And so it was a Game 5 and they lost. Yeah, crazy series to close out the day. But you can see just from that match the kind of talent that European University Rocket League has to offer.
Indeed you can. Again, Essex, do not feel too bad for them. I mean, that was painful to watch. I feel very bad for them, and a commiserations, of course, but congratulations to FHDW and our other teams qualified today. Likewise, Beckett Bears in similar spectacular fashion, and you know, quite calmly in comparison through the upper bracket, as one would probably expect. Erasmus Esports Rotterdam and Portsmouth joining the top teams as well. Of course, the next qualifier, we will be with you. It is in a week's time. That will be on Saturday the 20th, I do believe. And then after that, the last day of the month, it'll be Sunday the 28th for the 3rd qualifier. Aside from that, Orion, I mean, what a day it has been.
A very crazy day, and we were gifted with 2 Game 5s for our final 2 matches, and they definitely produced. The Beckett Bears, of all teams, able to book their spot in EURC 2021. I think if I'd said that a month ago and been like, you know what, the Beckett Bears could really make EURC, I think people would have just laughed at me. But they have really proved themselves here, and so have FHDW kind of coming in. I mean, they're an unknown to us. Obviously, everyone over at Uniliga knows who they are and how they can perform, but we've definitely seen that on the European stage here from them. So yeah, some top teams joining the other top teams that were invited to EURC, and 2 more qualifiers and 8 more places are now left.
Indeed, they are. To repeat, in case you haven't signed up yet, the next one will be next weekend on the 20th, and that is when we will see you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed. We've had some fantastic series on stream today. It's been a joy casting them. I hope it's been a joy watching them. I hope you've had a great evening, and this has just made it that little bit better. It's been a great evening for me and you, Orion, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah,
and,
I've had a great evening.
Been great, and I think that's all that really needs to be said. I think you've had a great evening, and please, sleep well tonight, and do not get reverse swept in your dreams. That would be a little bit sad otherwise. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.